so like I got on it, and I was living in Carborough, and I just couldn't do it. And every time I was on it, I was like, oh, it feels like I'm snowboarding, but that's not snow.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I didn't fall on it because I was cautious, but I knew.
You knew the repercussions of what.
I knew what would happen once I got comfortable.
Yeah, because I mean that's what happened with my one wheel. I just got comfortable, and I went down.
Did you lose a toenail on it?
I lost, man, I still, that was in 2018, and I have headaches to this day. I have
Really?
a concussion.
Ah, man.
That's why I go to Asheville once a month.
Really?
Just to see somebody. The guy was in Hickory, and I was going once a week, and they got it to like stage out. But I shattered my nose, had to have reconstructive surgery, huge lump on my head. Yeah, I was going 24.6 miles an hour, and the battery or the motor decides to shut down because that was the safety mechanism that's built in. So there's only so much output that motor can do, and once you exceed that output, the motor shuts down because it doesn't know what to do.
And you just lurched.
And it just dropped the power. So you leaned forward to go forward.
Oh no!
And so it shut the motor off, and all it did was bury the nose at 24 miles an hour. And it was like 1:30 at night. I had literally just smoked a fucking joint and had a beer, and that's what I would do to unwind. So I'd come home at 12 o'clock and I'd ride for an hour.
Because you cook all day, right?
So I couldn't all day, and so it was nighttime, and there was lights in the front of it. I had a flashlight, thing, and I just rode around my neighborhood for an hour.
Yeah, and you were coming down that straight. I'm sure there was.
So that was I'd get high and just go listen, put my earbuds in, and listen to Stick Figure, and this is what I was listening to, and I went down.
Man.
But you can't run out, especially when you're sideways. You can't run that shit out.
No.
And there's people who put the fangs on it where it drops the nose and it will ride it, but I didn't have that. That was like before the fangs came out.
My problem with the one wheel is it's so short.
Yeah.
And it's like.
So the XR is pretty big, man.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that
like
one.
So.
So it's like a 148, 130 something?
It might be a little bit less, maybe 120.
It's probably like, is it about the free wheel there?
It's smaller than that. Okay. Not by much, though.
Well, I got the longest one I could.
Yeah. I like the longer boards myself.
And I guess that's 83? It says 83 on it. 83 centimeters, I think.
Yeah.
So.
I would say probably like your daughter's snowboard.
Okay, yeah.
Is probably the size that it is.
That's still really tight. And so like when I'm snowboarding, like all I really like to do is go fast and turn left.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay. Like
heard that.
I can do jumps and I'm happy hitting a table, but really like take me to the top of sugar and let me burn that ass all the way to the bottom.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be doing 36 miles an hour.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, that's the top. Like I've realized that when people are riding there, I often burn everyone, but then there's like some chubby guy on a pair of short skis and he's with me the whole way. And you're like, all right, I'll ride with you, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how fast are you going? And he's like, well, I've got it. And he's like, he's teched out.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're doing 36. And I'm like, all right.
That's sweet.
But I'm on a 150. I'm on a 158 there. I was on a 165, which was too big for me, but I enjoyed it because
I ride 167. That's a big board.
I would go fast, quick,
Yeah.
and I really enjoyed how fast I would move off in the 165.
Yeah.
And I could control it, but I had soft boots, and I gave myself plantar fasciitis.
Oh, wow.
Because of the head, because this was a straight camber board back in the day.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It was like an atomic.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, they didn't even get to the Magnetraction before they were canceled.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And so it was a really long board, beautiful board. But I had my Burton softs on, and I ripped my Achilles up.
Man.
Yeah. And then it took me till last summer to heal. And that happened in 2013.
Wow, that's a long time.
So it started as fasciitis, and then it migrated up into the tendon and became tendinosis. That's what my doctor said, at least. I could be wrong, but that's what he told me.
Yeah.
And then I had to work on tendinosis, and I realized you have to ice the calf and heat the heel. I was icing the heel at first, and I was just putting myself in all sorts of pain.
That's what your rest ice compression elevation. We all know that.
Yeah, but I put
come on.
But I put the ice under my calf, and everything started getting better. And then we went on this hike from Marion to Mount Mitchell with More Heart Than Scars.
Yeah.
And the long hike cured me.
Really?
It was 27 miles.
Holy.
I bet I hiked 16 of it.
Yeah.
because they had a truck for people who couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I was filming, and so I'm in the truck. But I did 16, and that's
still solid, man.
That 16 fixed me. I was really sore for like 3 days, and then I was like, hey, I'm better. Wow. And I didn't have any pain, and I haven't had it since.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been 9 months.
9 months, and you dealt with that for a long time. 7-8 years.
Yeah. Well,
damn, dude.
You don't have any scars from.
Well, so what happened was I hit here, and it was an egg, not like immediately.
What's your wife say?
I don't know. So, she was hot. Well, actually, so my previous growing up, we got injured a lot, so we kind of knew how to repair ourselves a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I had a helmet that I got for it, and I put it on. I just got it from Amazon, and the helmet was too small. Like, fuck. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go on and order. This is the day of.
Just put a hat on, you'll be okay.
So I had my hat on, and I had the helmet that I ordered arrived the following day, and I went and rode with no helmet, and I was like, hands out, just feeling myself. Like, it was great. I had a good time, and I was just. It caught me off guard, and I luckily had some Kevlar gloves on, so it saved my hands.
Oh.
My hands went down, my face went down, and I hit right here.
That would have sucked.
It broke and shifted my whole nose over, so I had to have reconstructive surgery on my nose. It cost me like $10,000.
Really?
Good times, yeah. That's with insurance.
Oh, man.
So, then they went through, well, luckily I didn't knock myself out. And I was probably 4 or 5 blocks away. I just got back on the board and rode home. By the time I got home, there was blood. I was covered in blood.
Were you wearing shoes?
Yeah.
You weren't flip-flopping it?
No, hell no. No.
People do that.
Yes,
I'm like, what are you doing?
Everybody I see riding one without a helmet or some kind of protective gear, I'm like, you're going to wish you didn't do that.
Yeah.
And there's a little kid in my neighborhood, and he rides all the time, and he's on his phone, and like, bro, I'm telling you, I went down. I stopped him. I'm like, man, I've had my board since 18, dude. You were probably like fucking 10 years old.
Yeah.
And I would highly recommend you don't do that. But he doesn't listen. I wouldn't have listened either.
It's almost like put on like a full face.
Full face would be solid.
And then a chest protector.
I have some exoskeleton elbow pads that I never wear. I have knee pads that I never wear. But I get on and I ride. To this day.
What do you think about the downhill longboarders?
Those are nuts, man.
They're up here. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like, I've done some videos, and it's nice to do. It's really aesthetic.
I watch it on, Instagram sucks me in.
Those guys are like... And they're just blitzing.
There's no fear.
And they have a skater helmet and then a t-shirt, jeans, maybe a belt. And that's it.
Yeah, and some of them wear those slide hand.
They've got all of them have those.
Yeah.
But when you see a guy wearing the elbow pads, he looks like a dork.
Yeah.
And they're not.
They're too cool for that.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
No, I've learned my lesson on that. And even ride on mountain bike, I wear my helmet, I have gloves, but I don't wear any other protective gear.
The chicks with the bikini straps on. Have you seen that?
Oh yeah.
And they're like in Argentina.
Yeah.
And like so hot, but like
yeah, they're beautiful. Like, I saw some girl ripping it with a skirt on the other day, and I'm like, and her ass is out, and it's like
that scene from.
It looks really cool, and you look really sexy doing that. But I also know that your ass will be a raspberry.
Gone. Yeah, it's like when that chick slid into third base in A League of Their Own.
Yes.
And she had that big cherry on her side.
That's it. It's not a good feeling, man.
No. How many times did you go snowboarding this year?
Yeah.
What?
Goose egg it, man.
Is that because of the kids or what?
I don't know. We kept planning on it. Actually, we did plan to go in late December.
It's expensive for you because you got how many kids you got? 4
kids. So the oldest is Layla. She is 14.
Yeah.
And Zeta is 12. Well, 11, about to be 12 in May. McCoy is almost 10 this year, and then Hendrix just turned 6. So it's a lot. My oldest daughter Layla, that she's gone to like ski with some friends, and
sure.
She's gone 2 or 3 times through school this year.
That's nice.
My son, we bought a snowboard for Christmas, and we had all intentions to go. And then, like, my family, we were all going to go up to the mountains. Instead of Christmas presents, my parents got us all a mountain house, and we just go up there and we all go ski. Well, like, a couple days before, like, I kind of feel like everybody should just go get a wellness check.
Yeah.
Everybody go get a wellness check.
You got a big family, too.
We have a big family. There's 11 grandchildren from 21 now to
I'm jealous.
Like 3.
I'm jealous.
11. of them, and it's all boys except 2 girls.
Yeah.
So it's wild and crazy. So all of us were going to be in the same house for the weekend, which was going to be crazy. But I said, Thursday, I reached out to my brother and sisters and my parents, and I said, everybody go get checked. My mom comes back, she's positive for COVID. And she was like, I just felt like I had a cold. And so she has COVID. Then my brother's wife that weekend was positive. And she didn't feel any certain way either.
So it would have run through all of you.
It would have ran through all of us. And we had just been hit by it. We actually got hit the week before Christmas. Tuesday, my wife had COVID.
Was it Delta? Do you know?
They didn't specify.
It's weird.
So it was really weird, like a roller coaster. And then we went into Christmas was Saturday. Friday I was feeling weird, took a test, was negative. Saturday I was positive at night, and I'd been around my entire family.
How'd you feel?
It was bad for me. It sucked. But at the same time, it wasn't like there was other people that were hospitalized. So I have lung issues, and with my concussion, I have headache issues too.
So you don't know if it's a headache from COVID or if it's just a headache.
So that's been the whole thing for me. It's like
I'm the same way. I get migraines, and so
it's bad. So I got jacked up, man. I mean, it affected my lungs where I had to go to the hospital for a little bit.
Were you coughing all the time?
Yeah, coughing all the time, and it was very painful. My headaches felt like somebody had nails in my head.
Oh yeah.
And a vice at the same time.
Yeah.
I took more medicine than I probably have in like 10 years.
I'm right there with you.
My doctor's like, here, and I'm like, there's like 12 different
I'm going to be full off this.
Yeah.
Like, that's a meal.
It was horrible. I hate taking medicine. So,
never mind the vitamins they tell you to take.
Yeah, so I was bumping up vitamins and all that stuff. And then my son ended up catching COVID. The other 2 did not. So it's weird, man, how it ran.
We got it in January, like a month after you.
Really?
And it was really mild compared to croup that we had in September. And then I think it was RSV in late November.
Your daughter had that?
We all got it.
You all got RSV too?
I don't know if it was RSV, but it was rough, and it was a respiratory illness. My doctor's like, this could be RSV, but I don't know. All I know is you have a really bad cold, and we need to treat you for it. And my cough started like in the summer. And my cough lasted until, 3 weeks ago. I still have it, especially if I'm smoking a vape.
Yeah.
The vape brings it all right back.
Yeah, I can imagine.
just thinking about it makes me cough.
I got a cough.
I'm having like, I don't know what you call that, but it's like PTSD coughing.
Coughing.
Yeah.
So a week after we had COVID, my son got the flu. My whole family got the flu, and I went back to work. So my wife.
What do you think this is?
It was weird, man. His immune system's still jacked up, but honestly, the flu was scarier for us.
Yeah.
Because of how bad he was. It wiped him out. COVID, 24 hours of a headache for him, and he was fine.
And you're sitting there watching your kid, like...
When we were in and out of the showers, like in our house, like steam the shower up, taking him outside in the middle of the night to like...
And there's nothing you can do to like help him.
No, you freak out.
Yeah.
I mean, you try to keep your composure in front of your children who, they're already worried, and then you and your wife are like, what the fuck do we do? And, she's texting, we're trying to have communication, but not at the same time.
How have your doctors been?
We have kind of moved to a different practice, but I have a friend of mine who's also a customer at the restaurant who's now becoming our doctor.
Cool.
So she's been very resourceful for me. Anytime something happens, I contact her. I text her.
Does she have like an app with her group, and then?
Well, I know her and her husband directly.
So you just text them?
I just text her.
Good. Yeah.
And she's helped us.
You need that direct contact when you have children.
Definitely.
It's so important.
That's why we went away from the other place. I didn't feel that same energy, and I didn't have that ability to reach out.
Y'all weren't vibing?
Nope. No. And I never really loved it. I don't throw any names out there, but I just didn't like it. My dad is a buddy also who's a doctor, and I reached out to him initially too to get some different viewpoints on what I should be taking and what I should do, because he feels differently about COVID than she does, and this is huge for her, and this is like whatever for him.
Yeah.
So it was like, I'll get both sides of your perspectives.
I'm with a group out of Asheville, Lantern Health. They're really great. They really are. They have this thing called the Wheel of Health. We follow it. It's nice. But I've noticed that on the medicinal side, on the treatment side, Ben and many of his peers, they're all having a really hard time because they're guessing
Yeah.
what's going on? And it's not his fault. He's a good doctor.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I don't know I'm not sure what's happening. And I'm like, what's going on with my cough, man? I've been coughing for 6 months. And he's like, let me give you more steroids. And, he gave me enough steroids to, like, get Hulk Hogan back in the game. Like,
you're, like, hulking and crying at the same time.
yeah. And I'm like, okay. So he gave me, like, a short round, and they worked, but then it came back. He's like, well, and then he's like, I don't want to give you more. And he was also giving me antibiotics, and so I could become antibiotic immune if I take too many.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, just keep me on the steroids till this thing clears. And so he gave me a really long regimen of steroids, and it worked. And then we got COVID, and then it was back.
Yeah.
And then he put me on another short round, and so I probably was on steroids for a whole month, if you count it all up. And that's
so did your
lot.
wife and daughter got COVID also at that time? How was theirs?
So, but we should also mention, okay, I'm double vaxxed. My wife's triple vaxxed.
Yeah.
With the booster. She works at Mission,
Yeah.
She's pregnant. She wanted to make sure
Is she really?
Yeah.
Oh,
for
well,
sure pregnant.
congratulations.
For sure pregnant.
Really?
Like,
I don't know how I missed that.
We didn't really put it online.
Oh, gotcha.
I've posted pictures of her, and if you're paying attention, you'll go, hey. But we're not like, we're pregnant, ultrasound. We didn't do that this time. But, man.
Big sister pictures or anything?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Got a little snowboard to release it?
Well, we got that one. And if we can get Eris out there, maybe she'll get to ride it. But Andrea went, like, every day now. She's like each time I see her again, I'm like, hey, what?
Where'd that
It's like,
growing?
it's a lot.
Yeah. Where is she at now? In that?
We're less than 90 days out. So June 3rd.
Wow. Oh, you're real far along now.
Yeah,
you know what it is, or you guess?
It's a girl.
It's a girl, another girl.
So we got to
Nice.
balance out the doors.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have a get together. We'll have an arranged marriage.
She can select whatever she wants.
Yeah. Your son, good for my daughter.
Yeah.
My daughter, she cooked clean, right? No,
I don't know about that on my two, but
My daughter talked back.
Yes, that's
Watch
it.
TV all the time. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so 2 girls, and apparently that's it for me. She told me she's calling it.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
So I gotta do the thing. Did you?
I did.
Well, after 4, was your wife like, listen?
No, we've had that conversation up and down. It's like, even leading up the day of, she's like, "Are you sure we want to do this?" And so we had our last.
She said, "Are you sure we want to do this?"
Yeah,
talking about your junk.
Yeah,
That's nice. I guess.
Appreciate it.
She was wanting one more.
Well, so we had just had Hendrix, and that was in 2016 in February, and then March I had it done.
I mean, you're really young.
So I'm about to be 37 at the end of this month.
I mean, that's quick. I'm 40 tomorrow.
40 tomorrow.
My birthday's
happy early birthday.
I know.
Sweet.
So, but like I'm like sitting here wondering if like I should do it, and I know I'm going to, but
yeah, it wasn't a big deal, man. I heard from a couple people, just bring your headphones in. You lay back on the table, put your legs up in the stirrup, listen to whatever you want to listen to.
Glory days.
Yeah, and the guy that's doing it to me, wants to talk to me about a previous boss that I had, and
he knew somebody.
He knew that. Yeah, he knew the boss, and there was just a split.
He's like, hey man, your boss.
Yeah, how's so and so doing? I don't think
it's a nice ball bag you got here.
And I'm like, man, are you effing serious? We're gonna have a conversation about this man that I used to work for. Okay, and I put my earbuds back in, right back out, and then finally I'm like, fuck it, take him out, sit him down. And I'm like, let's go, man, let's have the conversation. Why doesn't he work for them anymore? Because they had differences. Well, and he didn't agree to what they had, and vice versa, so they split. Now he's doing his own restaurant, and we're a better group.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you want me to say.
He was trying to start drama while looking at your ball bag.
Dude, just snip it, man. And then they have to, like, it's kind of funny, but they have you have to ejaculate over, 40 times, 50 times.
Not a problem.
To be able to, you think so, but then you have to start counting.
Do you have to put a little logbook?
Yeah, there's a tally logbook.
So I would put the logbook and be like, porn star, and then
yeah, you'd go in depth with the whole journal.
Reference, like reverse cowgirl.
I made this a whole experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you logged it out, the date, the time, whatever you. And so then after you do that over a duration of, I think, it's like 30 days.
They don't make you go in there and do it, do they?
So no, well, that's an option. Or you could bring them a sample. So I come into this. It was hilarious. I came in there with my sample. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, you know, and I'm like, who am I have to hand this to that knows I just, you know, jerked off at 8 o'clock in the morning?
Did you really do it fresh that morning?
Yeah, you have to. So I brought it in there, and the guy, the tech behind it, was a guy that I knew through people at Ford, and so it's like a buddy that like Ryan Weldon, Matt Weldon, that they grew. His name was Jeremiah, that they grew up with, and they kicked it, and with my brother, and so I'm like, Jeremiah, what's up? Here you go. Top of the morning to you, and he just laughs, and he's like, I'll let you know, I'll give you a call, and he calls me back, and he's like, you still have.
You're too manly.
He said, you still have
you've got
swimmers.
You've got mad testosterone.
I'm like, sweet. He's like, well, you need to up your activity. You know, and I hand the phone. I said, will you tell my wife that? You know, and she had a few choice words to tell me afterwards. But
why?
She had just had a kid. So she's like, you handle your own.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll take care of it. Don't worry. You know, but it took 2 times and almost 2 months for me to like fully clear out.
They had to go in twice?
No, I had to give samples. So you just have to constantly give samples until it's clear. And then you know. But then you have like 1 in 3,000 chance to have it. Still. But that's like, for 35 years you have to have sex like, I don't know, or jerk off like at least 4 or 5 times a week. I mean.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I don't know if I'm doing that. Yeah. I think it might be like once a month right now.
So with
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You laughing at me? Why?
Because we've been there. We know.
I mean, like, this is not happening in the house. I mean,
yeah.
She's in her 3rd trimester.
No, it's not happening.
And I'm tired.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's no single stroke going on.
Yeah. Find that balance, man. But especially with 4 kids, and man, it becomes.
How do you sneak a way to do that?
You're very resourceful.
You got 4
we have to
kids.
Talk for a minute.
How many bathrooms do you have?
We have a master bathroom and like a half bath downstairs, and then we have 2 bathrooms upstairs.
All right, so you got 1 bathroom for every kid, technically.
Kinda, yeah. But one of them's in like one of the bedrooms upstairs, so that's my oldest daughter, so you don't really go in there.
Yeah, she keeps that one. She has the master?
She has. So the house, when it was designed in 70 or 73, I think is when it was built, the master bedroom was initially upstairs. Well, they continued that floor plan, but they didn't like downstairs, so they changed it. So there's there's technically a master upstairs and downstairs, and nice. She has the better one.
That's what we have.
The walk-in closet, it's huge. She has an amazing bedroom for a 14-year-old.
Yeah. Where are you living?
So we live in Hickory, in Viewmont area.
Okay.
Like right by Corinth Church off of 14th.
Did you grow up in White Eagle Ranch?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that was your house there back
then? So my parents still live there, man. We moved down.
It's a great spot. That's probably one of the nicest spots in Mountain View.
Yeah, it is, man. 34, 35 years ago.
Yeah.
There's something like that.
Yeah, back then that was like brand new neighborhood.
Yep, it was brand new neighborhood, and there's people in there. I mean, Kyle Floyd and Brandy Floyd bought a house in there. Aspen. Not Armstrong now, but I don't know. She's there. Brown.
Yeah.
Aspen Brown is there. They moved. And I think they bought a house and sold a house, and still in the same neighborhood, and then bought another one.
Well, her parents are there.
Yep. So they live right. I think they're moving beside their parents now, and they're selling the house that they just work to.
Nice. Well, Jay, he's a real resourceful dude.
Yeah. I've met him before, but social media and
he's good.
It looks like it.
He's flipping houses left and right for people. So good for him.
That's awesome.
All right, time for questions. I got some questions for you.
All right.
Reach that for me, thanks.
Yep.
So, I want you. I know about you guys and how you grew up, but tell me about your childhood. How did you come to realize your ambitions, and how old were you when you did?
Oh man, I've always, as far as what I do for a living, for work wise, is what you mean, or
yeah, So when I was young, I was 14. I saw this snowboard video and I was just mesmerized. And I wasn't mesmerized by the snowboarders. I was mesmerized by the guys who made the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's what I want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I knew at that young age that I was going to go into film. And I did not realize the heartaches that would come with that decision But I said, I'm going to do this no matter what. And
Yeah.
I immediately started that process. And I went to film school. And by the time I was 22, I had a degree in everything. And I was 8 years into my profession already.
Gotcha, yeah.
I mean, that's young. A lot of people don't realize what they're going to do till...
No, not that early, no. You know, I mean, growing up, it was, you know, I got a dirt bike at 4,
Yeah.
5. My family had land. So
Lots of land.
We had 14 acres, 17 acres of land after they bought some other property in the neighborhood.
I bet you burned that up, man. I bet you were...
Yeah, I mean, I lived on a dirt bike. You
Yeah.
know, and every day I would ride.
I had
My
one
cousins, same thing. I got my first bike from my cousins who had, you know, they had property in Mountain View, like closer to Ford though, like
Yeah.
down towards 10, the intersection down there by Crossroads, or a little bit higher. You know, so I got my first dirt bike and I started riding, and then, you know, when you're talking about the video, I just think of Crusty Demons of Dirt. Like,
Yeah.
my brother and I would watch that at, you know, teenage years, and, you know, we'd think we were badass, and we weren't even close to anything of that sort as far as...
You'd watch it. Then
Yeah,
go,
I'd watch it, and then I'd go, like, jump a pile of dirt that was, like, a foot tall and thinking I'm badass.
It's cool, though. Whatever.
This guy just did, like, a 70-foot kicker, and I'm, you know, just barely jumping this thing. But we would ride all the time, and you know, being outside, and my dad skied. You know, my family's from New Jersey, so he grew up skiing. He grew up in skis, you know, and
Was he better at getting y'all to the mountain than y'all are at getting your kids to the mountain?
100%.
Yeah.
We would go every March and go spring skiing out in either Colorado, Utah.
That's a goal of ours, is
And-
to get these girls
Oh
up
my
on
gosh.
their boards and just
Dude, it's awesome.
get them on their running legs, and then we just go and
Yeah.
we hit A-Rap and Brighton, wherever we
I
want.
loved it out there. You know, and it was, we'd always just go out, and I never really skied on the East Coast, you know, or snowboarded. I think
Wow.
around 12 or 13 I started snowboarding.
Yeah.
And then I never looked back from it. You know, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Do you get bored on the mountains here?
I don't want to go. I don't like ice.
It
it
makes
sucks.
you're more resilient as a rider if you
Yeah.
learn here.
You are.
Yeah.
You are. You know a lot of it, and I kind of even consider that in riding motorcycles versus riding on the street, and you know, losing traction and stability and
Oh yeah.
all that stuff. If you can ski on ice, you can ski anywhere, or snowboard or whatever, you know.
I'm a incredible slush rider. Like, you get at 55 degrees and I'm gonna burn everybody on the mountain.
Yeah.
You know, let it all soften, and then I'm just like, I have no fear at that point, because I know if I fall, it's just gonna be like a slushy.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about
Just gonna
it.
get
But
that
in the
up. Yeah.
mornings though, when it's all ice crackling,
Yeah.
oof, that makes me nervous.
Yeah. If it's groomed, I'm down with it.
Yeah.
If it's
Well, it's
not,
often not.
then
Up
yeah,
here.
then I'm good. So I haven't been. I've been maybe 2 times since I've been back in North Carolina.
How long have you been back?
I moved back to North Carolina in 2009. I was out in Colorado working
Okay.
out there at a place called Grouse Mountain Grill,
Where was that? Where's Grouse Mountain?
Beaver Creek.
Oh man, me and my wife went to Beaver Creek.
So
Big mountain.
I love it. It's a big mountain.
My wife was horrible at the time, and so we barely got to really see it. But I was overwhelmed by the vastness of it.
Yeah, it's huge. It's
Yeah.
huge. I loved it. But I was out there, and as you talk about the slush, I had the wrong wax on my board, and went and hit a 43-foot kicker and landed like 38,
Oh, yeah.
and pretty much flat grounded, shattered my calcaneus heel bone into my ankle.
I'm sorry.
So it was fun.
Yeah.
That was something that threw
Was-
my whole world around. You know, I was at that point had been but trying to get this opportunity to be an executive chef of this yacht and travel around the Caribbean, and you know, where they.
It wasn't meant to be, bro.
It wasn't meant to be, but it was a 6-figure job. I'm 23, 24 years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Full benefits, 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and they would send me
Yeah.
anywhere I wanted to go afterwards. And you know, I was submitting all these applications and these menus, and they called me. They're like, "You got the job,"
And you're like busted.
and I'm literally in the hospital bed, like in tears, dude. I mean, it messed me up. You know, I was like, I've worked so hard for this for months, and I lost it.
I think about, like separated shoulder or something, and like how, like, had I not separated that shoulder at that point, I could have done these things.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
It's where would you have been, you know? And you think, man, I could have had all these opportunities. I could have met all these people. I could have done all this stuff. But I also could have been stuck in a storm and the boat sank too. So.
Well, did it? I mean, it didn't.
No, it's good. No, it's good.
Yeah,
and
but
it's somebody that we went to Ford with.
This was before
reached out to me.
This was before you knew your wife, though, right?
Yeah. So that's kind of how this is leading into it. That happened.
You had
March
bigger
3rd.
things. You had bigger fish to fry. No pun intended.
That was March 3rd, 2009, and then I'm in the hospital bed. I'm talking to this doctor, and he's like, "So I have only done about 50 of these surgeries, and you have about 85% chance of amputation if it doesn't work."
That's the worst. 85%?
85%. They said, "Are you a diabetic and do you smoke?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." You know, I didn't tell them I smoked weed, but
yeah, don't. I made that mistake one time.
That's not your business.
I was in Utah, and they were like, "Do you smoke?" I was like, "I smoke weed," and then I was judged straight. Yeah. And I'm like, "Hey, what happened to?"
Well, this is right when they
doctor,
just passed
patient,
Colorado, sorry,
you,
law that it was legal.
So you could have said it, and they would have just.
It was fine.
But they can't treat you the same if you smoke weed as if you smoke cigarettes. It's not the same thing.
Not the same thing.
It's just not.
Had that conversation, and then you know, I'm talking to a guy. He's like, "There's another guy though in North Carolina, at a place called Baptist Hospital. Do you know what that is?" I said, "Yeah, it's like an hour and a half away from where my parents live."
Is it in Charlotte?
It's Wake Forest.
Oh, Wake Forest. Okay.
Wake Forest, yeah. And this guy's done thousands of these.
So he's sending you home.
He's sending me home.
And you're like, okay.
I'm like in a sports active area place, and I'm like, you know, I'm in Beaver Creek, Colorado. I'm like, there has to be the best doctors in the world around this area.
Well, Olympic doctors.
You should. And you would think they would see stuff like this.
Yeah.
But the guy had no idea. So what really sucked is my parents actually planned a 10-day trip or a 7-day trip.
Of course they did.
And they arrived like 2 days after my accident. So I was laid up. They did their thing, and then I had to fly home with them. And, you know, it was just emotional roller coaster of dealing with, you know.
Well, at least they were there to get you home.
They were allowed to, you know, luckily they could help me. They could get help me get my stuff.
Yeah.
And all that, which was awesome. You know, and then the 16th I had surgery. And it was pretty, I mean, it was pretty serious. You know, they ended
And you
up,
had it in Winston?
Yeah. So pretty much the calcaneus is down here. They had to cut like this L form.
Oh, you broke that bridge, that like.
So pretty much right here, this heel bone.
That whole piece, yeah.
So it's like a the doctor said it's like a hard boiled egg. Soft interior, hard exterior.
Mm-hmm.
And what he saw was pretty much somebody took an egg, put it into a balloon, and just smashed it with a mallet. Is what he was working with.
Yeah.
Which was nuts. So they ended up I have a plate, 8 screws.
So is your back foot, you ride regular?
I'm right foot forward.
Yeah,
so that's my lead.
So
when I came up, it was flat ground, man.
I've come out flat on tables before too, but I had never broke anything.
A buddy of mine, Jordan Harrell, actually did the exact same thing.
Alex's brother.
He
Yeah.
did the exact same thing, but he landed differently. And maybe I was head forward. I don't know. But
Seems like
he walked off. You know, he rode out.
Seems like your back foot took all the pressure though for you to be head forward.
Well, no, I was right foot forward, so I hit my right foot.
Oh, I see.
So I was leaning into it, I guess.
So you're goofy.
Yeah, I'm goofy footed.
Oh,
so as soon as I hit the trough, it was like, shoo, just break me.
Yeah.
And at that point, you're committed. You already have enough momentum to get you over the top of the hill.
I got
it. And it lit me up.
You're the second person I've spoken to about being out in Colorado and just wrecking themselves. Another guy, Chase, he's like a skydiver. Right, he's a base jumper, but he about lost his foot. He was I think he was in a competition, like a rail jam, and he came in really fast, and his board caught the underneath the pole that goes in the ground.
Oh yeah.
And it completely tore his tibia fibia completely. And so, I mean,
that's no good.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. You know, it was a lot of rehabilitation, a lot of learning how to walk, you know, all this stuff. But it was a really fun summer on the positive side.
Yeah, came to an end, but
yeah, I mean, once I got everything settled, and you know, they had me on like so many different pills again and meds and
you
shit.
Came back that summer. You're in North Carolina.
I was in North Carolina in 2009.
And when did you meet your lovely lady?
So I met her in July 3rd, the same year. Okay. So when I met her, We had just left a concert in Charlotte. My sister Michelle drove us up.
Were you still on crutches?
I had a cane that was badass because it was a cane, and then it had like this ivory handle that was ergonomically designed to like fit inside your palm of your hand, which my cousin Xander gave to me.
Nice.
And I'm like, it was rocking it, you know. And I had this big boot, and his band was called Wax Lips, and they were playing at Sundries.
Oh, cool.
So we rode up and came into Sundries, and I noticed her in there, and you know, I had a good buzz. I was having a good time. I actually fell asleep on the way up because we had drank too much. So then I was like, on my second stage round of having a good time. And,
fresh too.
Fresh and good to go. Fresh nap. I'm fine. I'm ready to go. Michelle woke me up, and then I went in there, and Kyle Sane's wife at that time, Ashley, introduced. Well, Kyle came up to me. He said, "If you don't go freaking talk to these girls, this girl right here, then I'm gonna lose it, dude, because they will not stop talking about you."
Nice.
I'm like, sweet. I got a shoe in. I'm good to go. So I went up to talk to her, and she was like closing out her tab. And I was like, "Man, where are you going now?" She's like, "I'm there. Everybody's going over to Ryan Johnson's house."
Okay.
So we all went over there and kind of played some ping pong and beer pong and hung out, and that's how we met. And it was literally like, we haven't been apart for more than a week since then. That was 12 years ago.
It's funny how current Ryan Johnson stays in the area for a guy who lives in New York.
Yeah. He came into the
He's here a lot
the other day, and like, well, not the other day, a couple months ago, because they do some golf tournament or something.
Yeah, I filmed it one year.
And
the Crown Jewel.
Yes, and they popped in, and I'm like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
I thought he was in New York.
Yeah, they are. They are up there, but they're down here too. I think he likes to come see his parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too if I were him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, luckily we're around our family and like that.
Now, I mean, when I was in Utah, my dad died. It was rough.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we came back pretty much. My wife was really having a hard time out there. As a pharmacist, women were paid much less than men. And it was obvious, like a lot less. And then there was like, she was realizing that the Mormon church was paying for all these opiate prescriptions for their flock, and they were absurd at the amount of opiates they were giving these people who didn't even have back injuries, who weren't in accidents, who didn't have any problems. They were just addicted to opiates. And she's like, red flag, red flag, red flag. And they started a little lady in her telling her that she couldn't do what she was doing. And she's like, no, that's not how this works. I'm your check and balance. I'm the pharmacist. You're not going to prescribe these to people who don't have any problems.
Yeah.
And she started realizing that opportunities weren't coming her way as often. And she was assaulted on the job. She worked down at Sugar House, which is this, you can call it sketchy. It's as sketchy as Salt Lake gets. Salt Lake's pretty clean.
Yeah.
But it's probably the sketchiest part of Salt Lake. And some dumb lady was like complaining over a $3 copay. And Andrea was like, you can pay it or you can leave. And then her son decides to drop kick a Angry Bird soccer ball through the pharmacy window, and it hits my wife in the face. She catches the ball and she throws it back. The boy, he's not little, he's like a teenager. He moves and she hits the lady who's bent over in the butt cheek. And then the lady who gets hit in the butt cheek starts claiming her neck hurts. And then the next day my wife's out of a job. And she's like,
are you serious?
She's like, I'm not happy here. Like, I want to move on. And I'm like, good. I mean, we had season passes at Brighton and Solitude that year. We rode out the season. She got really good, like fast. And she got ballsy. And she kind of did what you did, but she didn't hit a table. She was just like carving really hard, really fast down what I thought was a little slick of a spot. And some skier, the dumbass skiers, pop across, and she goes, and it was like, it went ice to powder, and then she got her like toe edge caught, and she couldn't adjust, and her ankle racked, and she broke her ankle on that little bone on the top.
Yeah.
And so we had 6 weeks. We got back, because the season's so long, it was literally May, or maybe April, late April. And she's back on the board after 6 weeks and tender, but we got her back on. We went a few times, and then that summer we moved back.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And so,
crazy.
but that was a year after my dad's death, and honestly, right at my point of my dad's death, I was like ready to come home.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, what are we doing out there? It was hard to make friends. I made business acquaintances. I built my portfolio. I have a lot of really good work from then. But it was just like something was missing. And I think it was that connection to not just my family, but to people who know me.
Yeah.
And when I came home, it was like the summer of love all over again. And I kept running into people I knew, and everyone knew my name. And I wasn't a stranger.
Yeah.
People would recognize my face, but they wouldn't know who I was, so I would be accepted immediately.
Yeah.
Weird stuff like that, or they'd know my dad. They're like, "Oh, I know your dad," and that. All right, I'm home.
Yeah.
And so I decided in 2015 that I was going to really hunker down and focus on the Western North Carolina region with my media. I was going to try to find a way to elevate people in my community to a better place, as well as myself.
Yeah.
Because by elevating you, I elevate myself.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And it took till the pandemic for me to realize this and the podcast.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But before that, I was going around and interviewing people in their locations, and I was trying to make the publication grow, but people don't read. So I had to take it from print to media.
Yeah.
And so it's
easier.
5-year process. That's what it takes, isn't it?
Wow.
I mean, it takes 5 years
Yeah.
to get something off the ground.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's restaurants, and they say anywhere like 3 to 5 years.
I wasn't getting a lot of help from some people.
Yeah.
I was finding some people undermining me, and I don't know what that was about. But I mean, where have you been in a situation where that's happened to you? Where like you're just really trying to be the best person you can be, and you're really doing your best to not judge anyone because you're not like that.
No.
But then all of a sudden you realize there are people like cutting you at your ankles.
Yeah.
Random.
Yeah, there's people that I put a lot. I mean, all right. So as being a chef, you constantly have
Talking behind your back.
Yeah, you constantly have these people that, they say they want more, and so you give them more, and you start relying on them, and you start teaching and educating, and you spend all this time and effort to build this person up. And because, this, like you just said, if the people that are below me are not being elevated, I am stuck where I'm at.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to elevate myself internally and, in all aspects, facets of my life, is for the people to be elevated with me.
Yeah.
If I can get you to grow, I'm going to grow too. Because now you're challenging me to be better, to educate you more. Mm-hmm. So I would constantly, I'd started doing this, and, I've had people that go behind your back, and you start talking junk and start saying, this person, you're lazy and you don't do this and you don't do that, and these expectations that you're like, wait a second, I literally just helped you build your career, but now I am where I am.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that there's this bad conversation about my name and what I do and how I
Well, like at some point,
business.
you're trying to find balance, and you have a family.
Yeah.
And your family needs your time. And then, so like, you probably try to like let go of some responsibilities at the job site and delegate them down. But then, I don't know if you want to call that a jealousy or something, but then they're realizing your free time.
Yeah.
Is that what happens?
Yeah. Yeah, and it does. And
you're like, well, it's not free time. I mean, I'm like over here with 4 kids.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm at the beach.
It depends on who you discuss with too. You discuss with people at your business is, your family takes priority, but you talk to your family, your business takes priority.
How do you set those boundaries?
I have a hard time with that, man. I'm actually working on that now.
Tell me what's hard about it.
I have a cell phone that starts at 7:15 in the morning and doesn't. I get messages at 1:30 at night.
Yeah.
And there's no in between. But I'd also, work with farmers, and they're up early.
Of course.
And I work with vendors, like my fish guy I was just on the phone with outside before I walked back in. He called me to ask when we're going to be there and wanted to talk about the fish that he had. I've already placed this order 2 days ago, or a day ago, and he knew what I would need, but he wanted to talk about it. So that is a constant.
Yeah.
My screen time is probably 5 hours a day, which drives me insane.
And that's just because you're on it all the time.
There's almost 2 hours of text messaging.
And that's just work.
That's work.
It's not like you're on Facebook.
Well, I am a little bit, but probably 20 to 30 minutes a day on that, and maybe same with Instagram. But Instagram also gives me, gives me things to watch, like downhill, skateboarding or food. I mean, that's where you find the chefs and
Instagram's the best food curation. It's like the Library of Alexandria for food.
Yeah.
It's like all right there.
It's all right there.
It's like it's even probably better than Pinterest now.
It is. I don't get down with the Pinterest, but for me, I'm a visual person. So with food, if I see how things are plated and I see the art that goes into the plating side of it, I can then replicate something like that. Or if I know the ingredients, if I knew that this dish contained 12 ingredients, I can make something similar and I can make it taste good.
Are you like going out of your way to find authentic cuisines from different regions of the world?
I challenge myself with our wine dinners to do that at Rule.
I mean, it's got that multicultural thing.
It does, and we're trying to really kind of hone that into more of the Southern steakhouse kind of vibes. But we do wine dinners every month, and we allow, the guests to select, or we choose an area, a zone of. I've done where we pick like this. So next Wednesday we have California.
You pick it out of a little spinning thing.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm like, what are we going to do this time? I've done, we've done Australia, I've done Germany, we've done Italy,
Someone
Spain.
should throw Ukrainian cuisine at you now.
See, we really should have done that this time. That would have been interesting.
No, I actually, just last week I interviewed Svetlana Edie, and she's Ukrainian, and I brought her on specifically because of the issues.
Yeah.
She runs a catering company out of Asheville called Svetlana's Kitchen, and boy, it's something else. And she's specialty, so she only works in that range. But it's like Thanksgiving only with flair.
Yeah.
It's like really heavy foods, really good foods, wholesome. So
yeah, right. That's awesome.
Lots of pastries.
Yeah, that's something I don't really get into pastries too much, but it's something that I like to do. The food side for me is like I like the evolution of it and tasting it and tasting the progress of it. And so if I can taste something, I'll get it to where I want. But baking, it's like you better be right with it.
Yeah.
You can't wing that as easily.
What's your go-to dish? What's your best dish?
I don't have it. I love.
What's your best range of dishes?
I really like the Asian cuisine. I really like the freshness of the ingredients. I like the appeal and there's almost like you respect the vegetables. You wash them, you take care of them, you show love to them. There's gratitude towards it.
That's so filling too when you get it.
It's so filling because it's not just the food side. It's like the growth of the vegetable and to me is amazing. And then getting that fresh product in and washing it and seeing how great it is and trying it in this raw form and watching it move step by step and evolve into this really cool dish.
What vegetables typically do they use in that region of the world?
I mean, anything from there's snap peas to there's rice, there's bamboo, which is North Carolina. It's big for bamboo.
Yeah, when you say Asian though, that's a broad.
That's broad.
So what do you mean? Like more? Where's the range?
Japanese food I really like a lot. My aunt is actually from Okinawa, and I've cooked with her a few times, very a handful of times in my life.
I'm a very big fan of Japanese food.
Watching her cook, then watching how she treats the food, and she will soak all of her vegetables with a cap full of vinegar and water, and make sure that they're clean. And she's very clean. She has her own garden. She sends me pictures of her bitter melon, and that's disgusting, but it's really good for you. But and you really have to try to make that taste good.
Now, are you into sushi too? Or
yeah.
You roll your own?
Yeah, I can roll. I just did for my wife's and my anniversary.
I bet she loves you. When it comes to sushi, like, what typically do you do with it? Like, what's your ingredients for the sushi you make?
Well, for me, I'm making it at the house, so it's like it has to be very versatile for all the kids.
So
my
with the
oldest daughter
kids,
gets into it.
What's the best sushi for kids? Because
she loves California rolls, but it's like she didn't really love tuna, but I made one with tuna, like a nigiri the other day with some. I just seared a little piece of tuna that I had, and sliced it, laid it over top of the sushi. So the nigiri is just the rice.
Yeah.
And I put a little bit of the wasabi under it, and then drop the fish right on top.
Because to get a kid to eat sushi, that's tough.
It's tough, yeah. And they all want to do it with the chopsticks, so they're like stabbing, stabbing the food.
It's no longer sushi.
No, it's destroyed at that point. My second daughter, Zeta, she'll eat it, so she's pretty adventurous as well. But we'd do like a tuna roll typically at the house. you know, and have some other options available too. But
yeah, so
we kind of keep it set.
My go-to. So you don't have to go to Asheville for sushi. The best sushi in town is right here in Black Mountain.
I remember you saying that a couple years ago.
Promise. You may be able to go find some gourmet something downtown in Asheville, Wasabi's. But honestly, I've been to Wasabi's probably 100 times. And Black Mountain, or it's called Sake Sushi of Black Mountain, kills them. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. It's their range of dishes. And then also their sushi seems more fresh. I don't know why. It's mountain sushi. It can't be that fresh. You know.
Yeah.
They're not pulling it out of the pond.
No.
But my go-tos are spicy salmon roll, spicy tuna roll, aramaki, and that's what I get when I go there.
All right.
And then the kid gets the chicken teriyaki dish, and it comes out on a sizzling plate. So good, and it's like an orange chicken.
Oh yeah, that's what
so
we would get to.
Completely it's like glazed with orange sauce.
Oh yeah.
And so my wife will get the California roll and the rainbow roll, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean we kind of go that route. Normally, if I see a menu and there's a bunch of stuff on it too, like I just will either have the server give me 5 items or something like that, and I don't look at it, or I'll just take some.
Well, I eat the same thing every time.
I mean, the eel is amazing with sushi.
Their crab rangoon's really good too, but it's heavy. I don't like to eat it because I blow up. Yeah. I mean, I gain weight fast, man. I gotta be really careful.
I understand. I understand that. Yeah. It's. I'm trying to think what other rolls that we would get. I mean, we really don't ever. I never get the same thing. I never really try to make the same thing either.
Really.
If I'm cooking, it's a one-off thing.
I get stuck. Like when I find something I like at a restaurant, I don't want to waver because I know that's good. Yeah. Because I've had so many situations where I tried and I was like, oh, this green pepper is weird. I don't, I got this weird like it looks like okra, but it's a giant pepper at a restaurant one time, and I was like, that's not what I wanted. So I
understand that. You're disappointed, and that's where we're at too. Like I've kind of built a monster within my wife too, as far as like her expectations of food now.
I bet she's spoiled.
And which everybody's like, oh, how's it being married to a chef? And he must eat good. And she's like, he's never home. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't cook. The times that I'm off of work, I try to cook for the family so that they, she gets a break from it and all the juggling that she has to do on her day-to-day basis. And,
who's the better cook, she or you?
I mean, she's come a really long way, man. I mean, when we first met, bro, it was like she was scared to cook for me, which everybody is, which I can't stand. I'm like, I can't tell you how grateful I am that I don't have to cook right now.
You don't even know.
I don't care.
I bet I would love to be in a taco off with you. I would make a taco that would rival yours. I would. It's all about the ingredients. Yeah. I learned that, and so our Ingles, we have an Ingles. Okay. They call it Ingles, but they have this really fresh food in there a lot of times. Their vegetables not so much all the time, but their meats are always like
pretty good.
And so I'll do like a beef tenderloin, and then I'll get some chicken or some salmon, and then I do like a pineapple thing with guacamole.
Oh, nice.
And there's a Greek dressing that I find they call it labne or labne, Labne. You know what I'm talking about?
I've never heard of it. No.
It's like sour cream but more cheesy.
Okay.
And a little bit thicker, and it has more calories than sour cream.
All right.
Probably 3 times.
All right.
But like that spread on like a nice corn tortilla with the ingredients, and it's a no-brainer.
It's solid. That's solid, man. We did a tuna taco at the restaurant and did some Cajun seasoning, like blackened seasoning on it. My go-to slaw is red cabbage slaw.
Oh, you're going slaw. See, I'm not
awesome
that
though, man.
refined. I don't even know.
So red cabbage, lime juice, a little bit of rice wine vinegar, sriracha, and honey.
I've really gotten into the vinegars.
They're awesome. You get that. You get the acid punch. You get the sweetness. You get a little bit of spice, and we do it for even on Hawaiian rolls and smoked barbecue, like pork. With that, dude.
Do you know that store downtown Hickory? It only sells vinegars and oils.
Yeah, that's the crushed olive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have 4 bottles upstairs. What do you think about that stuff?
It's been a long time. I used to use it at the demonstrations that I would do at the farmers market.
It's a secret weapon.
It was secret weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw that into something like, oh my gosh, this tastes amazing. What'd you do to it? I'm like, oh, I just actually added their vinegar. That's
it. Yeah. I'll take it, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
But I'll take I guess it's got to be the vinegar, not the oil, because it's brown.
Yeah.
I'll throw that in the pot while I'm cooking, and I'll get like this weird caramel on my salmon.
Oh yeah,
I love that.
You glaze some salmon with a little bit of that balsamic. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
You can do that with regular balsamic too, but with that balsamic,
depending on what flavor you have, I mean, the
I have
infusions
lavender.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like lavender, but she didn't complain when I made it with that. So
that's interesting. I've never thought about lavender with the salmon, but it
it was all I had. I wasn't like being fancy. It was like, let's just
sounds fancy. Just roll that. Go that route.
Throw this in there. See what happens. And you can barely taste lavender. It tastes like vinegar, obviously.
Yeah.
When it comes to food, I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but like, what inspires you most? Like when you're cooking, whether it be in the realm of the Asian foods, or what perks you up on the job? You're like, all right, we're working with this today.
Yeah. Fresh ingredients definitely get me excited. You know, things that are like the carrots right now they're awesome. There's they're called Toro, like Carmen peppers. It's like a sweet Italian pepper that looks like the bull's horn.
Yeah.
And it's super sweet, and like my kid would, Hendrix would have like 2 in his hand, and just go to town on it.
Just eating the peppers.
Yeah, they're amazing. There's about 2 or 3 farmers in the market, at Hickory Farmers Market, that will grow them.
How are you doing with the mushrooms now?
The mushrooms are awesome. So Catawba Mushroom Partners is who I'm buying them from.
Alex Reinhardt.
Yeah, he is awesome. I mean,
he's really got it. He's got it dialed.
It's dialed down. I have not seen mushrooms this beautiful and this consistent in a long
Think
time.
about the nutrients. I guess you call them brain nutrients, right?
Yeah.
Like they're helping us neurologically.
Yeah.
Especially when you're getting into the lion's mane and stuff.
So he has lion's mane capsules that he's doing now too.
Yeah. And
then he's also doing like the tinctures of reishi.
Yeah.
That they just started bringing to the farmers market. Haven't gotten a hold of that yet, but that's my plan. But I get the oyster mushrooms from him. The black, they're called black, some kind of black mushroom of mine. Black pearls.
Are you sautéing them? How do you like?
We roast them.
You roast them?
Yep. So we'll roast first, and then I hit a little bit of thyme in there, some oregano, salt, pepper, oil, and we roast them. And for our usage of them, we'll just do it on a big hotel pan or a sheet tray, and then we will cook them and then cool them down. So when it's time to pick up, the cook time is reduced by half, essentially.
What do you mean pick up?
So like the ticket comes in, somebody gets a side of mushrooms. The mushrooms are already essentially cooked, and all we're doing is doing a quick reheat to them. Otherwise, it'll take 3 to 5 minutes versus 2 to 3.
Yeah.
And every minute is very important.
And so you're even in a lion's mane, you're just roasting that. Now, are you slicing it and then roasting?
We tear the lion's mane up.
Okay, so it's just all in pieces.
Yeah.
then.
So big chunks, and I've done like a mock crab. Like a little crab salad that we had one time
with the lion's mane.
With the lion's mane.
That's perfect.
Because you saute that with some butter, some garlic, salt, pepper. Man,
is there a way to ruin a mushroom? Like, how do you mess that up?
Over seasoning. Especially the lion's mane is very sponge-like, so
it takes everything.
It takes everything in. You could definitely over season it. Some people will splash a little white wine in there with it.
Yeah.
But white wine would overpower it if it's not cooked. The alcohol's not cooked out of it a little bit.
Cooking wine or something like that might be bad.
Yep. Or overcooking them and hammering them out.
Would a vinegar bother it?
No, it'd be good.
Okay.
A little pop to it.
That's my bad habit. I put it on everything.
Vinegar's good though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice. It adds that acid that you kind of want to carry yourself. And really, if you add vinegar, you don't have to add as much salt. So if you're trying to reduce that, you can, that way. My aunt always used to say, if you think it needs salt, add acid like lemon, or add vinegar or something to it, and you won't need salt anymore.
Oh, wow.
Which is new to me. I've never heard that before. She told me that a couple years ago.
Now, you haven't mentioned anything about pastas in here yet.
Man, I love pastas too. Food is just like, I don't know. It's just, there's so much. Like, I can't just like one thing. And I love making pasta, and this would be a great table for it, by the way.
I bought it and I put legs on it. It's great. It's great. I might do a poly table later, but
I have a butcher's block, booze block that has That's just a tabletop that I bought from somebody. No
you can
legs.
get them at Home Depot for nothing.
But I have the whole top, and then it's all connected through. It has LED lights around the base of it, and then it has plugs, like 5 or 6 plugs around the whole thing.
Oh wow!
But it's sitting in my parents' barn like for 10 years now.
Plugs like outlets?
Yeah. Yeah, somebody's put outlets all into it. All I have to do is put legs on it.
Hey man, if you want, let's talk. It sounds like a podcast table to me.
It's a podcast table, and it has a hole right here that has electricity that you can pump up or down, however you want.
Nice.
But you could plug in anything, all your devices, everything.
Is it this big or is it bigger?
The length is the same, and we're probably maybe 6 inches less.
Oh wow, that's okay. Yeah, I went with this width because I feel like the other ones would put us like we were too close.
Yeah.
And probably I could go a little bit wider, but that's whatever.
I mean, I think you're right. I think a little too narrow would be too close.
Yeah, but yeah, I chose the butcher block because it was easy, and I'm good with woodwork, but I'm not that good, and I didn't want to I wanted to get this done, and this was like the cherry on top in here, man. Like, for me to get this finished was a big deal. It was a really big deal.
That's sweet, man.
This was my pandemic therapy, getting this thing right.
Yeah. You know, I'm thinking in all of our businesses, things changed a whole lot, but, you know.
You had to have some serious downtime.
Yes and no. So we closed down one of our facilities, and we consolidated all management to that one restaurant, which is Cafe Rule.
Yeah, which is a big hit in town.
That's a big hit in town. Then we went to To-Go's, which, you know, we would do nothing in comparison. I mean, like 10% of our business, maybe.
Wow.
You know?
During the
downtime, you know, and it was all To-Go's, and it went from like this art-forward thought process
to get it packed up
to just throw it in a To-Go
It's just
box.
food.
It's just food, and we were like lunch ladies, just scooping and
I'm
serving.
sure that sucked.
Any creativity it killed. You know, and
you're not there for presentation anymore.
No, it's like, how can you make this look amazing in a To-Go box?
But what you gotta understand though, and I had this problem too, and our go-to spot is actually pretty far away. It's Stony Knob up in Weaverville. I don't know if you've been there.
No.
If you haven't, go.
Okay.
You'll have an appreciation for it. My guess is Cafe Roll is probably just as good.
Okay.
But it's like a Mediterranean world cuisine. It's a lot like that, but they have these lamb tacos there. They're the best in town.
Yeah.
And they're not even in town. They're actually 20 miles north. And
a little bit of a drive.
So for me to get from here to Weaverville, I have to go to Asheville, then leg up to Weaverville, another 15 minutes. And so it's got to be pretty good because we go up there. Also, I go see my friend. He's got the hookup, and so I make it a deal. And so we go get our tacos, then we go see Carlos, then we come home. It's a nice night.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know where I was going with that. What was I doing? Oh, anyways, so those tacos were the only thing that really kept us sane, like with our meals, because we couldn't go anywhere to get anything. Nothing was open. And so it's like, what am I going to do? Phil's? Barbecue's barbecue. All right, sake sushi, great. That fills a void too. But when we really want to feel special about ourselves, we go up there, we get our lamb tacos, and we get the tiramisu, and we get beverages of whatever kind, and that's our meal.
Yeah.
So I would go see Carlos, pick up the meal, come home victorious, and my wife would be like in the best mood ever after that, you know, because I got everything then. I got the tacos, I got the weed, I got everything I need. And it was a nice night. And so there were probably people calling Cafe Rule who really just wanted to taste that freedom again.
Yeah, I mean, there was people that were like trying to dine in our parking lot.
Can we just eat here?
Can we just eat here?
I'm just going to put a table out.
Can we just eat in the patio? Because, you know, we had the outside garden
What'd you tell them?
And we couldn't tell. We told them we couldn't have anybody in. You know.
Where were these rules trickling down from too? Like where were they coming from? Because it's almost like they were imposed and then we all self-imposed them.
Yeah.
And it's like the playgrounds were a big issue for me. And I got to a freak out point about 9 months in where when I would go to the playgrounds and I would tear the caution tape off. And I would just pretend like they were open.
Yeah.
But I would tear the caution tape off. Like I was that guy in Black Mountain, tearing all the caution tape off, making them look like they were open again. And I would throw all the caution tape in the trash can.
Yeah.
Because like, who's going to get COVID out here? It's like me and my daughter and some other kid and his dad.
That's it. Yeah.
And that's it. It's like no one's getting COVID on the playground.
Yeah.
Let's stop this nonsense. And so I would just tear them off.
We don't even go to playgrounds still, man. Like, we just don't do it. I don't know. You know it.
We go. And there's a lot of good playgrounds in this area.
Yeah.
Like Tomahawk's got a great spot.
We did a lot. We were a lot outside a whole lot. You know, I was home by 8:30, and which was new for my family. And,
you got a lot of
first time
stuff to do though. You got cool toys, and y'all hit.
Yeah.
I remember seeing you guys out at Riverbend.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, so we were always outside, and it was good for us. But for people in the restaurant business, what it showed our families is what they were missing.
Mm-hmm.
So things that had been always acceptable, things that this is your job. You work anywhere from 55 to 65 hours a week. You're not home. You're home after 12 o'clock. This was normal. Well, now I showed my family a new normal. And now this isn't just me. This is every chef, everybody in the industry. It's well, we want you home now.
All the time.
I want you home all the time.
Can't you cook from home?
Can't do that.
You're one of the few people who can't work from home.
I can't work from home.
You can't.
I can
It's
set
impossible.
up. I can set up and do podcasts, and I can do TikToks, and I can do all this stuff with cooking and videos.
But that's
just not like. I have a cousin that I love dearly, but he pushes for that all the time with me. Look at these guys making so-and-so. This is how much money he's making off of this video that he's posted. Yeah, but I'm trying to take away my video and screen time. Like, I don't want to add to it.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my kid out there just because he can open presents like this guy's, $100,000 a month, this kid's opening presents. I'm not putting my kid out there like that.
Now, so there's something about the here and now and the real life experience that I think a lot of people miss. And what I realized during the pandemic was, like, I got into woodworking. I was like, everything I've made to this point is just going to be dust, except for this table. This table, if no one destroys it with a bulldozer, this table is going to be here for a long time.
Yeah. How
long do you think a table will last? I mean, if you keep it up and it's clean. I mean, that right there might fall apart in 30 years. But if someone wanted to make sure the nails stayed screwed in, that thing will last a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, a house. Like, this house was built in 1990. It's 2022. And it sure feels new to me.
Yeah.
And the siding will need to be replaced eventually. You're going to have problems. You have to fix the screen door, stuff like that. But the house will be here probably hundreds of years. And those are the only things that really, in my opinion, exist in this world outside of you and me and the things that we can do with our hands.
Yeah.
And you cook. And so you're literally in the moment every night, because at the end of the night, those meals are gone.
Yeah.
And being able to stay in that moment has to be really rewarding.
It is if you get the feedback from the guest,
Yeah.
If you're getting that acknowledgement, if you're, when we do wine dinners or when I'm doing private chef table dinners, and like I get to go out and present the food and talk about the food and, tell them a story.
Yeah.
Tell them about Alex's mushrooms.
Yeah.
Tell them about Karen's bok choy that she has right now, and tell them about Andre's carrots that he has right now. And like, this person is from Lincolnton.
Yeah.
These vegetables were taken out of the ground this morning.
That's amazing.
This morning. And they just got here.
It's too bad you can't get the fish out the water like that.
I don't want to go to Lake Hickory to get my fish, man.
Well, they're here. There are gators in there now.
No, I've been hearing that for years and years.
Yeah, piranha.
So, I mean, like, it definitely has its rewards, but it's taxing. It has you on the other side, too. Where it's stressful not having the staff. It's stressful not, there's all sorts of stresses, but you can go down that road and that rabbit hole. And then this is a constant battle that I've been dealing with, especially recently, because my family has given me more pressure of being home. My job has also given me more pressures and more responsibilities and things that I need to be doing, which is fine.
Yeah.
I want to do those things, but this is what we do as men. We provide.
Yeah.
And this is something that's been, my dad left at probably 7:30 every morning, and he probably got home at 6 or 7 o'clock every night.
Mine was worse. Mine was like 5:30 to 11.
Yeah.
He was a football coach,
So he's gone all the time.
All day.
But what did your dad do for your family?
He provided.
He provided.
Yeah.
But if he wasn't providing, what would he have done? He would have been there, but you wouldn't have had the things that you may have had.
I think there's a balance. See, I was on the full tilt of that spectrum where my dad was just not home.
Yeah.
And I fucked around. I mean, I got in trouble.
Yeah.
I got suspended from school. I mooned, I think it was Miss Biggerstaff out the back of the bus in 8th grade. Got suspended for the whole last week of school. I was a legend. And then, never mind senior skip day. And what was I doing that day? You don't want to know.
Yeah.
And so my dad wasn't home enough. And I think and he was often, I found myself jealous because my dad would be off helping some other kid who actually had it way worse than me.
Yeah.
And he needed to help those kids. Like he would take a group of troubled youth up to Grambling for a tryout or something like that. And that's his whole weekend. His whole weekend shot. I'm at home bored, just kind of like jerking around, not knowing what to do. I'm in my adolescent stage. I needed my dad. I needed someone to he probably should have taken me to Grambling. I think that would have been the move.
Yeah.
Be like, you're coming with us type of stuff. I would have gotten the camaraderie from those guys but he often just kind of went and did stuff because I didn't have the interest. I was tired of sports already. I mean, It was like football, baseball, wrestling all the time.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I'm a geeky dude. I like my cameras. I like to snowboard, and I like to talk to girls. That was like my deal.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the same interest as him. But I'm now a stay-at-home dad who works out of his basement, and I do okay. But I'm home a lot.
Yeah.
Way more than Dad was.
Yeah.
Way more. My wife works at Mission, so she's gone. Not as much as him, but it's a 9 to 5 or 8 to 4:30, and so she's the one who's out of the house, and I'm home. And I gotta be honest, like there's something to be said about dads being home too. Like if there's a way for a dad to be home a bit more often than usual, it really benefits the kids because I think we have a certain backbone or something. Like when we're there, like they understand like protections are there, stuff like that. Moms don't have that. Moms often don't bring that same level of I don't know what that is, but machismo, I guess. But we bring something that women don't bring, and so with dads being able to be home, I think it's certainly a trend nowadays. Dads are home more often. It seems like there's something more there that could be helpful, but I mean you have to find balance. I can't be home all the time, guys.
Yeah.
Like I have to go out and see the world for my sanity. And when I do work out of the office, like when I get hired, I'm not home. But when I do the podcast and I'm editing, I'm home. So it's like, 30% of my time is spent gone, where I have 70% more time where I'm home. Where in your case, you're probably 70-30 the other way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. It's
you can't.
I'm anywhere from 9 to 11, and then I get home anywhere from 9 to 1.
Yeah.
So I have.
And that's Monday through Friday, or?
That's typically I have Sundays off right now at least, and then I have one other day of the week, which is either a Wednesday or a Thursday.
Yeah.
So,
the slow days.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. There's always going to be the business there, so it's
that break in the week is great.
Yeah, it's good. I don't mind the 2 days off because I feel like the first day you're kind of like trying to. Like Sunday, for instance, I mean, I don't get home until about 1 a.m. on Saturday night. So Sunday, I'm kind of wrecked, but I try to get my shit together so that my family can enjoy me being around.
At least by the afternoon.
Yeah, wake up and, and our kids get up early, and as we all do, they all do. And, Laura's alarm goes off at 6:30 every morning.
And what does she do?
She is in the design business right now with furniture.
Oh, yeah.
So she just changed. She's been doing design for years, off and on. She helped establish and build the Masamore location that we have in Hickory, and she's done home projects with the owners. But now she's working with her mom, and they buy wholesale furniture and sell it at wholesale.
Okay.
So that's out of like Longview area. It's called Web Furniture.
Big things coming to Longview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so soon.
So it's pretty solid. Like if you go by Hams, if you're coming like from the Coca-Cola plant and you cross 321, you see the Longview sign right there, and it's like right there on the left side.
Oh, cool.
The huge warehouse, and they have really nice, nice furniture that's very inexpensive for what it should be.
Yeah.
For instance, so she's been doing that since maybe May of last year, which has been great. She goes in at 8 and gets out at 4.
And the kids are at school.
The kids are at school. We have my cousin's child who watches our kids when in the off time or whatever in between times. And
yeah, are they riding the bus?
No.
Or
So they go to Hickory Christian Academy.
I hear that's a good one now.
It's really good, man. It's awesome. It is awesome.
It's new now, right?
Big. No, my brother went there. Like it used to be.
Your younger
by
brother?
The Armory. Yeah. So he went there when he was super young,
You don't have an older brother, do you?
No, just
you have
younger.
your sister, though.
So Allison's older, Michelle is younger, and then Michael is the youngest.
Yeah.
And Allison's 4 years older than I am, so she's a year older than you.
Technically, but
Yeah.
she was 2 years ahead of me in school.
Gotcha.
I was held back.
Gotcha. Okay. So, we kind of been in and out of that school, but we about 4 or 5 years ago, we put them back in, put them into that school, and it's been huge, man. I mean, they're, they teach respect that the boys hold the door for the girls.
Of course.
They, they're getting to learn about religion and that I don't know about, and about Christ, and they know more about the Bible than I have ever known in my life. And
they're in the back teaching you about it.
Yeah, and and I'm like asking them what their homework is, but I'm really learning it at the same time.
A lot of times, especially.
And it's very difficult. My daughter is at 14 and she's a freshman. It's difficult, man. There's 4 hours of homework every night.
And then the math.
And the
Because
math.
they do the math different than
The
when we
math
came
is
through.
different. Yeah, the math is different.
Is it better?
I haven't really gotten into it, so we had to hire a tutor recently because it was that difficult.
You're like, I can't.
Well, I just I'm not home at night, and I can't give her the time that she needs to help her with math. I love math. Like math and science were my strong suits.
I struggled in math.
I loved it, and at the same time, I went to culinary school and failed a fraction test that I had because I was like, I left pre-cal calculus, and then I had to go to culinary school, and they're like, I need you to, divide this fraction to figure out how many cups you need of this, and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
A fraction? I haven't used that, and I can't tell you how long.
You should see me doing math with the tables. Like, I'm going to be doing polytables eventually, and you have to like math out the right angles, and it's you do it wrong, you just got to try again.
Yep, yeah. But it's been, the homework side has been a little challenge for us, and Laura has to do it all by herself because I'm not home but one day during the week. So
well, about 14's when I had a tutor too.
Yeah. So we have my 2 oldest have tutors right now, because they need it, and we've missed so much school. They probably missed almost 2 months of school this year.
How did your kids do during that whole time?
Initially, it was very interesting to see the interaction from my oldest daughter because she started playing with her younger brothers, and because she didn't have anybody else to really to get.
She was
with,
like finally off her phone.
Yeah.
And like,
then it kind of roller coastered a little bit. There was problems that arise from being by yourself and being isolated, and that especially a teenager, like the stuff that if somebody told you or I at 13 or 14 years old you can't go see your friends,
I would have gone and seen my friends.
I would have gone and seen my friends, and thank goodness my daughter did not, but I would have left the house.
No, I grew up in Old South, man. Like,
we would have been gone.
There was like 11 of them.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been over at Jeff's house or David's house or down at Greg's or whatever.
That's what we would have done. I mean, I would have snuck out of my parents' house and gone. I'm sorry,
we
Mom
would
and
have
Dad, but whatever.
My parents wouldn't have, like, my mom and I had this conversation. My dad died in 2014 of a heart attack. Had he made it to 2020, he would have died of a heart attack. Like, there's no way,
thrown it over.
There's no way he would have survived it.
Yeah.
Unless he had, like, in that 6-year interim, lost a bunch of weight and got himself really great. But, I mean, he was just like, the wormhole was insane.
Yeah.
Like, what's real, what's not real, the fake news. And, fake news is coming from both sides.
Yeah.
And, the QAnon conspiracies, he would have been right down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's a big rabbit hole. It's easy. It's easy to get lost in it,
Yeah.
And I think that the biggest challenge for us was just to be open and understanding of things.
Good.
In personal life and also my business life too. It's like be open.
Did your son or sons have to go back to school with plastic dividers and?
No. So they had 6 feet in between all desks, everybody wearing masks, and then masks became optional before the state ever made it.
Because it was private, right?
Because it's private. They can make that. So
and did they choose to wear masks, or did
we requested that they have masks on? My oldest daughter has had COVID.
After y'all got sick
twice.
of it.
So
sure.
yeah, and I'm like, guys, mom's been out of work almost a month now.
Yeah. You
have to wear a mask at school. I don't care that this kid beside you is not. Like
How is this going to affect them when they grow up? Like they
don't fear it, and there are kids that do, and my 6-year-old.
There's some agoraphobic kids now.
Yeah.
And it's scary.
Hendrix will say, "Dad, I don't have my mask today," even now, and I'm like, "It's okay, just go, man.
You'll be all right.
You'll be good.
Pick one up if you find one."
Yeah, just stop picking your nose, man. I'd much rather you stop that than wear a mask at this point in time.
Yeah, it's just about
Come on.
My daughter, I'm a bad example for her though. So she sees me doing it and she does it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. My daughter's young enough to where she hasn't had to go into school yet. A lot of the schools in Buncombe County were like, plastic dividers, everybody 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And like, I worry about how that's going to mess them up when they become adults. Like, how are they going to interact with each other when they grew up with these weird isolation issues and dividers? And the mask alone creates, like, when I see someone wearing a mask sometimes, and I know that they're wearing a mask just because they want to be an asshole, they're wearing it because they don't want someone to see their face, and you know that when you see it. You know it. There are people who do this. I'm like, that motherfucker. He just doesn't want people to know who he is. He's acting like a shady motherfucker.
Yeah.
I ought to beat his ass. That's what I think. But I don't.
Going down it.
But, I understand if someone feels sick and they want to wear their mask. But when someone's wearing it maliciously and they can get away with it in this age. Because, 3 years ago, if some fuckhead was wearing a mask for no reason, people would be like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Go into a bank with a mask on, see what happens.
Not going to work.
Not going to work.
Yeah.
Nah.
So, I don't know.
I understand that too. I did see, it was interesting, in service and things at the restaurant, watching when you don't have your full facial features to read somebody, you watch their eyes. And the amount of information you can gain from somebody's eyes and how they're feeling, what they're doing, if their stress levels, I started picking that up. I'd watch servers go by me and I'm like, are you all right?
You can. So I guess that's very empathic of you.
So it was cool to find that out, because I just started watching their eyes, and
instead of just seeing the muzzle.
Instead of seeing the muzzle, and there's a lot in somebody's eyes.
It's
you can
incredible.
See confidence, you can see lack of confidence,
pain.
You can see pain.
Oh, the pain is really.
You can feel sorrow. You can, everything. Sadness, it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all in your eyes, and so it was weird to see the mask come down, and I have a couple of this one girl that works for me that she has a beautiful smile, and this young chick, and she's like. Now that it's off, she came in with this huge smile on her face, and and everybody's like, "Wow, you have a really good smile." Nobody knew,
because you hired her during the pandemic.
Yeah, we hired her during the pandemic. Well, actually, I heard it before, but it'd been almost a year plus 2 years of doing it.
She's gleaming.
Yeah, and she was gleaming, and she's just just very upbeat person, and nobody got to see that.
Yeah.
So there's that side of it too, but you could see her smile also within her eyes, and it was it just has created more opportunities for people to learn different things and be more accepting of not getting your product in, or not getting that delivery, or not something being shorted, or something being substituted that you're not the same quality, that you're not used to, that so it's from a restaurant aspect of it, it's been weird, really weird.
This question can go many different ways, because you're an action sport enthusiast. You're also a cook and you're a father. So there are other problems here. But how do you manage yourself in situations that require no fear? It can be anything.
I'm trying to process. So I haven't.
Can be up
until recently. I really haven't. I would say the last probably since my accident. But I know fear now a little bit more.
I know it now. K-N-O-W.
Yes.
Yeah.
I can understand it. I appreciate it. But at the same time, I'm still going to go on my mountain bike and I'm still going to try something. But I might not try that gap that
But those
is
things
there,
don't really scare you, though.
No.
What scares you? Like,
I mean, I have a Harley and I don't ride it as much because the last time I rode it,
it's like the one wheel.
I had somebody come over on me.
Yikes! Yeah.
And this lady wasn't paying attention. So that worries me a little bit. I rode the other day for the first time in over a year, and I was kind of. You're constantly checking your surroundings and
a lot to
using
lose,
your peripherals, and I have a lot to lose. And that worries me that if I were not able to provide for, I think that's the biggest scare. Like, if I can't provide for my family. If, say, the restaurant business doesn't work for me and I need to do something else, what am I going to do that's going to provide for my family as I'm done? I mean, I've been in the restaurant business since I've been 15, so I'm about to be 37. That's
long
all
time.
I've known.
It's a long time.
And I've done all of it. I've been in front of the house. I started at Applebee's in Hickory when I was 15 years old.
So you're working there when we were showing up on senior.
Yeah.
You were up in there when we were getting food after the games and stuff.
But it's like, that is my biggest fear now. And it's not the sports. It's not getting hurt, because I know that I'll probably heal just a little slower than we used to. But it's the fear of letting my family down, but also that fear is within not being there for them too. Mm-hmm. So it's, for me as a father and as a husband, I'm trying to be the best husband I can. I'm trying to be the best father I can. I'm trying to be the best chef that I can, and also stay positive and know that I got this, and know that there is a direction for me. There is something for me. But what do I do if this job is not fulfilling a need for my family?
Well,
and that need is me.
So you're talking to a film producer, a camera operator type guy, and it's feast or famine over here, man. And we're a novelty act. You don't need it. We don't feed you with our media.
Yeah.
Okay, we do, but it's not going to keep you alive.
Yeah.
It's just going to eventually erode at your soul. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there are seasons of the year that really are slow, and some producer guys may say, well, I'm not slow that time of year, but for me, like Christmas to March might as well be a desert wasteland.
Yeah.
And then March to, let's say, September, solid, pretty good. I gotta be honest, like that's when I make my money.
Yeah.
And then September, October, that's wedding season. If I can latch in, I'm okay.
Yeah.
But it's tough. It's really tough, and we run into that here. Luckily for me, I have a beautiful wife who has a great job. She works in healthcare, which is obviously needed.
Yeah.
And so we have a really good dynamic. But, before the kids and before all that, like, this was a problem between she and I. She's like, hey, man, you're not living up to the...
Yeah, where's your end of the bargain?
Where's your end? And I'm like, I'm trying, I really am. And it wasn't until we moved to Salt Lake that I figured that out. And the truth is, it's all about location for me. I can't be in Hickory, or I couldn't at the time. I couldn't be in Hickory and make a living as a film producer.
Yeah.
Or even Asheville. Asheville's awful. People up there. There's someone in Asheville willing to do it for free, no matter what. And so you got a lot of people, nipping at your heels, doing it for less.
Makes sense. Yeah.
It's tough. But
it is, man. And that just adds a lot of the weight, and
it takes like 20 years.
Yeah.
Like for you to really establish yourself in this industry.
I can see that. And like you said, they don't have to have you to live.
No.
You know what? They don't have to have me to live either. Like, they don't have to.
True.
But at the same time, this going out to eat is not about really the food necessarily.
It's the experience.
It's the experience.
That's why I'm there.
I could serve you a box of food out of the back door, but that's not the same experience. That salmon is going to taste 10 times better if I put it on a plate.
I want to sit down. I want to
sit in front of your
I want
wife.
to dress up.
Yeah.
With my lady. I want there to be a fireplace crackling in the background if it's at dinner, and I want to hear music, and I want to engage and interact with people.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
That's the whole point. It's not the food.
Yeah.
It's not the food. It doesn't matter, the food is a plus, but, they're coming there to eat.
Like, we get really excited if the chef walks to the table.
Yeah.
And asks us how, or even the manager. Sometimes the managers are douchey, but like when the chef comes out, we're like, what? Royalty.
Yeah. I used to do that a whole lot, and now, since COVID, I kicked everything back because I didn't know that people really got a good vibe with me coming to the table and talking to them. And
I think as long as you have interesting things to say about the food, people don't care.
It's good. But I just started doing it again recently within the last couple of weeks. You know,
especially if you're like
food and,
talking about where the steak came from or the vegetables
I literally
are fresh.
just cut your steak right now, and it just went on our wood fire grill, and that's the steak that you got. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
we killed the cow in the back. I'm kidding.
We got a slaughterhouse in the back, and you know it's been you know it's just everybody has to constantly evolve with this and what you're doing too.
Do you worry that world events are going to cause you to not be able to do what you love? Like it's already happened once.
It's already happening once. You know, my entire career, I've said it, I mean, thousands of times. You know, I'm in the restaurant business. I can always have a job. I'll always find a job.
Yeah.
I'm not concerned that because I could lose my job today and I can go find a job today.
Yeah.
Because I have a demand.
Andrea is a pharmacist.
Yeah.
It's just like everybody needs a pharmacist.
It doesn't matter. And I don't care who I'm working for because you know what? I'll have another job. I might not get paid the same. I might get paid more.
You might be making burgers and fries for somebody.
I might be making burgers and fries for somebody, but you know what?
They'll be the best burgers and fries in town.
They're amazing. Yeah.
You're going to do something special.
So I'll do something special with it. But you know, then COVID happened and it was like, shit, my job isn't stable.
No.
I thought that was like the garbage business. It's like you know, somebody who runs a mortuary or whatever. You know, it's like
stable.
It's stable. You're gonna have people dying. You're gonna have trash that needs to get picked up.
And people need to eat.
And people need to eat. This was something that I always said, and then now it gives you a gut check. You're like, wait a second, you know, and the cost of everything is escalating for all of us. I mean, I have crab right now that I'm buying. The same crab was $23 a pound. Now it's $48 a pound.
It's a lot of money for a crab.
And you know what? My menu isn't changed.
Have the mushrooms gone up in price?
The mushrooms have gone up in price.
Okay. I was going to say, you could just substitute out some crab for some lion's mate. They wouldn't know.
They wouldn't know, but the mushrooms are up, but they're not that high, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have 2 crab cakes that we serve with really nice tortilla slaw. It's like a lemon vinaigrette that's tossed with it. $17. But I have like over $2 into 1 ounce of crab meat, and
I'm gonna have to make that at least 23, right?
It should be, but it's not. You know, so and you know, there's shortages on graham cracker crumbs right now, that I can't make cheesecakes with graham cracker crumbs unless I get the small packs and open up individual ones and crack them myself.
Mm-hmm. That's
cream cheese. There's a cream cheese shortage.
You gotta go Lobney.
It's
Greek
insane.
Lobney.
Greek Lobney.
I don't know how you say that.
I'm gonna work it. I'll figure it out.
I'll send you a photo.
You gotta see what it is, you know. So there's a lot of stuff, and you know, kind of going back to your question, you know, I think that there will be changes for us. I think we have to. You know, I think that and there is concern a little bit. My ownership is not as concerned. They're just building. Yeah. They're building 4 restaurants right now. They're building because when it does come back, they're gonna be ready.
Yeah.
They're not going to wait for it to come back because then we will be behind the line. You know, we should be up in front.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have, you know, they own the Vintage House in Hickory, so we just redid that entire place. We have Masa More, we have Cafe Rule, we have Pepper Wine in Charlotte. We have 2 restaurants that are opening downtown: an Asian concept, which is like an Asian sushi burger joint, and then we have a cafe. And we're taking 1 kitchen, splitting it, and we'll have 1 restaurant over here, another one over here, and then there's 2 more coming too.
Whatever happened to Sergeant Pepper's?
It's a church.
Did you ever work there?
No, I was too early. It was too early for me.
I worked there for like 4 months. They wanted to make
Wasn't it a club or something?
It was a restaurant when I was there. Okay. And I guess they had some things.
I think the nightclub.
I was just out of high school, and man, like they want to make me a server. I'm not a server. I'm back with you, bro. Yeah. I'm Hobarting hard. Like that's me. Like I'm shucking shellfish.
I'm in the back.
I'm tossing salad. You know, like that's me. And they kept trying to make me a server, and I'm not a good server. And I would like
talk to these people.
I would spill tea on people and like
shaking hands.
Yeah, I just wasn't for me. But
I didn't like serving as much, man. I love talking to people, but I just didn't like the serving side of it as much.
I really enjoy being in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was really good on dishes, but you know.
I jokingly said to my guys yesterday, and there's a girl online too. I was like, you know, you guys are so functionally dysfunctional, but I love you guys.
I think if I had
seriously,
if I had gone career, I probably would have tried to get into cooking.
Yeah.
I probably would have, but I don't know. I didn't really fall in love with cooking until we moved home. Like I was a good cook, but now I'm like a home cook. Not
Yeah, I was cooked with my mom and
Yeah.
growing up, and it was like whoever cooked didn't have to do the dishes.
So you cooked.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I hate
was
the
like,
dishes.
Sweet, and I'd sit there at the table and
Grilled
probably
cheeses
like,
for everybody.
Sticking tongue out or whatever, and any of my siblings that had to do the dishes, and just talking junk under the table.
My first dish, I make a really good grilled cheese.
I like a good grilled cheese, man.
And there's an art to it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, do you butter or do you use olive oil?
Butter.
All right. So I learned when I didn't have butter one time that if I throw enough olive oil in there, it comes out the same.
Oh yeah.
A little crispier.
A little crispier because you're kind of frying the bread, but the butter is nice in it. But the olive oil, butter will probably, the milk proteins will probably burn a little bit faster. Low and slow with the heat on it. Just a nice melt. You can't go wrong with that.
I know. We had that the other day. I want to go ahead and do this. What keeps you up at night, man? Like, what really bugs you? Like, if you're up and you can't sleep.
Man, there's kind of what we talked about, right? I mean, right now my recent stuff is just my family at this point, and watching
keeping them healthy,
and knowing that really we have 4 or 5 years to make a big difference in these kids' lives.
I know this is make or break. Right?
Iris is what? How old is she now?
I don't know. She's your kid. Oh, Eris.
Eris. I'm sorry. That's not my kid. Eris.
We almost named her Iris. That was like Eris or Iris, and we went Eris because no one has it.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's 5 next month on the 3rd.
All right,
on
so
the 4th.
we have really 5 to say 6, maybe 7 years to really have a big impact.
That big development is like now to 12, and then if you fucked it up, they hate you.
Yeah. Oh, they're gonna hate you anyway. But
all right,
it'll happen. They'll come back, from what I heard.
They'll really hate you though.
Yeah.
Like if you're not there enough, or if there's something that you weren't listening to them about, if you don't take them seriously enough when they're talking to you about nonsense.
That worries me a little bit. That kind of keeps me up. And making sure that with everything in our busy lives that we have going on, that I maintain a really good relationship with my wife and my best friend and my partner in everything that we do.
What do you guys do to make sure that happens?
We're failing at that right now. To be honest, man.
Same.
It's we have different lifestyles.
Got busy again.
We got busy again, and this is a conversation I had with Laura 2 days ago. And I sent her this stuff, and I sent her a list of stuff. I said, "This is going to build our relationship."
Right.
We have to
see. She's got to think it's nice that you made the effort to make the list.
So, like, I've been listening to, when I go see my head doctor, I listen to like podcasts or it's some relationship stuff.
I think they make us better, the podcasts.
Yeah.
Because I listen a lot.
And so does she, but she always, she's on yoga, meditation, hippie people. And, I love those people, but
my wife is way too far. Like, she's listening to these really rigid medical podcasts.
Oh, that's too serious.
Oh, and they're like, I'm sitting here hearing them, and I'm like, they're spouting a bunch of bullshit. That's not real. That's not. That's fake. That's more communist nonsense. A lot of it is like,
she's like digging in, like really liking it. And
it's like like when the World Health Organization said all these things.
Yeah.
And then they were proven wrong. Like those podcasts are saying all those things that are now not true.
Yeah.
And just this morning, some guy was on there talking about the oil embargo on Russia. And I was sitting there putting on my pants or my shoes, and I was like, he's full of shit. And she's like, shut up. No, he's not. And I'm like, listen to him rambling. He's full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And then he goes, la, 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 and he starts rambling, and she's like, ugh.
Damn it.
So,
next one.
I got it.
Next track.
Yeah. But
so that's, for us, that's what we're going, just it's the life thing. I mean, we're all going to go through it. I talked to my dad, and my dad's been married to my mom for almost 50 years, 47, 48 years. And, he says, Rick, I'm still dealing with this. And I still, it's to make sure that we as husband and wife are putting our priority, us first, and our kids second, because the foundation and strength of our home is us.
It's so big.
And you know what? We get lost with that, especially with the sports. I have one kid in volleyball. I have two boys that are going into baseball.
And the kids demands.
And they demand, and schools demand, and Mom, I can't find socks, and I can't find the right pants. These pants don't fit. Da 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 da.
Fend for yourself.
And I find pants, and then they sit in maple syrup that somebody spilt in the back of my van today. The other day.
Yeah.
So then we turn around and have to go back, and everybody's late for school.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like that. For me right now is my focus and also my fears to not have a successful marriage and not have successful, parenting.
Yeah.
I've seen bad stuff, man, with my siblings. I've seen my parents struggle. I've seen friends of mine go down bad areas where their parents divorced.
I watched my friends die.
Yeah.
Chad and others.
And we have seen people die from these fun things we used to do.
Yeah, and like my question is like, where was the circumvented parenting that could have stopped that from happening? Was it inevitable? This is a grand question.
Yeah.
Like, was Chad Stuzman's death inevitable? Well, did he have to die so we could learn from his death, or could it have been? Could there have been like a sweeping arm or like a loving hand or something to play to fix him? And when was that? Was that at 30? Was that at 11?
Man, that's rough.
Did this all start from the root? Like, was this from the beginning? And I mean, I have family members in prison, and the big thing was like, oh, well, he's around a bunch of bad kids. No, he was the bad kid. He was the bad kid. He got in trouble all the time, and his friends got in trouble too. But, he was the reason why they were at that place at that time, because he was the leader of the group.
Yeah.
And so, like when your kid's the bad kid, and a lot of that just comes from ambition, and they're fun and they like to have fun, but they don't have a lot of guidance. They get themselves in these weird places where they can get in a lot of trouble or hurt themselves.
I think that we had a good upbringing. I think that my mom was able to stay home because my dad ran the family company that we had. He was in textiles, and my grandfather and uncle both died, so my dad inherited this company. And he had nothing. He had no idea. He was like in his young 30s, dude, and he just got handed over this textile company that he went to school for aeronautical engineering.
Well, he was smart,
so he had nothing to do with textiles. But he learned it, and it's kind of like, I don't know, man. It's interesting, to say the least. It becomes something you think about, and you learn about now. We're learning about it now. I'm asking these questions now. To constantly go to my dad as a resource to, luckily he's around. He's 73.
Yeah.
And he's with us. His father passed before that.
How long did his dad live?
His dad passed away in like 91, and I think I don't know how old he was. All my grandparents died in their 50s, kind of, and then I had one grandmother last till she was 72, 73, and she fought with like cancer the last 2 years of her life.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of older people in my family. And on the adverse side, Laura's family's like in their 80s and 90s.
That's
upper
good.
90s, bro.
Well, so
my
wife's, what's her heritage?
As far as
you just did they come over on the Nina?
I don't. So she looked it up, and I think there's Irish in there somewhere, and I'm not sure. A lot of her family's from Black Mountain area.
Okay.
They're all like, they're deep in the woods.
Well, my wife's Italian.
Yeah. Okay.
German Italian, if you can't count her mom's side, but her grandma Angie is like full blown Italian, and she's 93, beat COVID. And she's still here, and she's complaining every day because that's what Angie does. But she's in a nursing home down in Pinehurst, and we're just like any day now. But we said that 4 years ago.
Yeah,
she's still going strong, and I'm thinking that Andrea's bloodline might just be a real healthy batch because they drink and they smoke and they do all the things that you're not supposed to do, but they're still
good.
They're still good.
Well, Laura's side, they don't really do a lot. Some of them didn't do a lot of that. Some of them did. Some of them were wild, and some of them were like far side of it.
Yeah.
Very active in church and very active in and all of that. And they had an awesome upbringing of family and things too.
I just wonder how much diet plays in that.
Oh no, I mean Southern food. There's nothing healthy about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But like on my
Throw
wife's
some
side,
fat back in there, some collard greens. Come on, man.
my wife's side, it's all pastas all the
Yeah.
time. I mean, like they have pastas for, like they have a 7-fish dinner at Christmas.
Yeah.
And every time we're there, pasta's on the table. I'm gluten intolerant, so they think I'm a bitch.
Yeah,
Like
definitely.
I can't
You made
hang.
that up.
I can't hang.
Yeah.
Like I get migraines if I eat too much of pasta.
Really?
So,
I
yeah.
love pasta, man. I love making it.
So good.
All of it. It's so awesome.
Well, we had it last night, but I had the gluten-free penne. So
What's the chickpea base?
I guess I don't
Yeah,
know.
we do
I don't get a
something like
headache
that.
though when I eat that.
Yeah, we do something like that, and you can actually find some grains that you can actually eat that aren't. If you go towards the ancient grains of stuff, and you can find pastas that way.
Do you specifically make dishes like that for people at the
Oh
restaurant?
yeah. There's
So
everyday
it says
people coming.
gluten-free underneath it, or
It'll say it, or if they have, like somebody came in the other day and they don't do any animal products, they don't do dairy.
dairy's
So
a big
it's
one.
Essentially, they're
Peanuts.
vegans. Yeah. So she's like, "What do you have for us?" I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
you can select off the menu, or you can trust me." That's where we're at.
Yeah.
So you can select items, or just let me cook you something.
I would let you cook me something.
And some people are down with it, and some people are like, but then I'll say, what do you dislike? What?
That's special service right
So,
there.
I mean,
The
we'll make
chef's walking out to talk to you and
Yeah.
say, "Oh, you have a peanut allergy? Okay.
We got
Well,
you. There's enough stuff on it. I mean, I have 800 pieces of items in the restaurant.
peanuts are scary." I had a
Yeah.
friend. He like if he got any peanut in his dish, he was like starting to close up and like.
Wow. I mean, we have guests that come to our wine dinners. Like, we have a guy who has a bivalve. He can eat bivalves, but he can't eat things like crustaceans. And he can have, which is crazy. But if he's in the area that shrimp is cooked, like, he'll start swelling up. His wife can't even cook it in the house.
So if I shuck shrimp raw, my fingers and my hands get red and big fat. And if I touch my mouth, I get fat blistery things going on here. But if it's cooked, I'm good. But with clams, I ate clams one time and I was like about to fall out.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know why, because it was my first time really eating clams. We were at the beach.
Yeah.
We were in Topsail, and I was like, these are really good. And I ate like 7, and we had the saltines and the Tabasco sauce.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good.
That's good.
And
Good.
all of a sudden, I'm like blacking out and falling out on myself. And someone gave me a Benadryl, and I was fine.
Wow.
I don't know.
Yeah, we had somebody come in and eat calamari one time, and he said that he had a shellfish allergy, but he ate the calamari. And I said,
Well, it's not a shellfish, right?
well, it has something called a quill or a pen. It actually is a hard interior. It's just
Technically a shell
It's
piece.
technically a shell piece.
Yeah.
So, but we didn't know. He went to the hospital. He was in town on business. Next night he came in for dinner. He's like, I really wanted this meal. And he came back in and ate. He didn't have the shellfish, or he didn't have the calamari that time. But I went out to the table and talked to him. He's like, it wasn't you guys. I'm an idiot. Didn't know. I have the allergy.
Well, that's cool though. He came back.
He was, and luckily he did. I felt bad. I'm like, damn, I wish I would have known that. My sister was serving there, and she actually served him.
Oh, really?
I'm like, you almost killed this guy, Michelle. She's like, well, I didn't know. Why wouldn't he know?
What
I'm
you
like, you're
do?
right. Why wouldn't he know? And there's so many people that come in that like, they'll get their food and they'll be eating it, and they'll say, well, this doesn't have dairy in it, does it? I'm like, it's mashed potatoes.
Well,
Yes, it has dairy in it. Well, we have a big allergy. Why didn't you say this when you ordered your food?
yeah.
It's crazy that people just don't think.
They should
about
just
that kind
like
of stuff.
sew it onto their clothes along with their blood type, just in case.
We have people that have severe allergies that have laminated cards, and it's probably happened maybe 4 or 5 times.
The
my entire
diabetics
career.
too do that.
They'll hand the card and say, "This is what I can or cannot have."
The
flip
diabetics
side
will
of the card.
they'll wear the bracelet,
Yeah.
and you're like, okay,
Now you know.
yeah. So it's good. All right. So, what projects are you working on right now that you're really excited about?
Work or home.
Both, man. I don't care.
So at home right now, I have started a tree fort with.
Oh, cool.
So that was a birthday present in October. So
Is it
it's
gonna be like a big
slow,
one?
Yeah, it went big.
It's gonna be like the one in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
It's huge. It's huge. So my dad and I started this. We have 4x4x16s, and then the platform right now is 10x10, and it's about 9 feet tall. so 10 feet tall. I have the truss is in. I have everything. It's just ready for the flooring, and I'm waiting on that to happen to buy. Put some money aside. Wood is extremely expensive right now, as you know, I'm sure.
Well, I bought everything before Trump was out of office, and so now I haven't bought any wood since. But
it's a lot.
When we begin building that big studio in Longview, fingers crossed, knock on wood, that happens. We're gonna have to really look at wood prices because we're gonna have to frame that whole. It's like a football field. It's that big.
Oh wow!
And so we're gonna have to frame that out. It's gonna cost a lot of money in wood.
Yeah.
So
I'm working that now. I have the floors that are going to go in hopefully within the next little bit, hopefully next month or so. And then we have a slide that I have from my house, my parents' house, but the way that I have built the platform too tall, it'll be like straight up and down. So they'll be like running out of it. So I need to do a second platform that's lower for the slide.
So they give them a nice little bump to fly in the air.
So somebody's probably hopefully not going to break anything, but that's the big project at the house right now that the kids keep talking about, which is exciting to them. I built one at my last home, and that was probably 5 years ago now. But now I need to get this finished. And
did that one add value to your last home?
No, they tore it down. They kept the swing, but I did 6x6s by 16, and they were $48 at that point. Now they're like 100 probably. But
yeah.
So big pendulum swing, and everybody loved that. So that's the big project at the house that I'm working on right now. And then work stuff. We have menus and we have all sorts of stuff we're kind of kicking around.
Are you getting up way earlier than you usually would to do things at home so that you can just keep up?
I'm trying to, but I don't. Laura's alarm goes off 6:30, and I try to get up then, but I normally drag a little bit. I have to have sleep though, or my headaches get worse with my concussion.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my part that's hesitant. That I hesitate on getting up too early. But if I'm not getting home till 11 or 12, it is hard for me to go to sleep immediately.
I had a phase there where I was getting up at 4 a.m. and trying to do that 4 a.m. workout thing.
Yeah.
It was great, but it's so hard to keep up with because.
I mean, if I were to wake up
one long night.
That's it. So I would get home at midnight the next night, so I'd be up from 4 a.m. to midnight, and then go to sleep for 2-3 hours and work out again. I did the workout thing before COVID. I was like in the best shape of my life. I had like a 6-pack. I had, I was like, what the heck is this? It was cool, sweet. I was, really proud of myself. Check me out. You know, and then I put on like 40 pounds, 30 pounds. I
had a flash last summer where I was looking really good. And then I guess that's when we conceived the second one. But then I had an issue with my gym and I stopped going and I haven't been back since. And I tell you, I'm seeing the results of that decision. Yeah. And I think I'm just going to have to start trying to find a way to make this happen here. I got to get like a couple barbells and some stuff.
You got a good area for it.
I've got plenty of room and we've got lots of hills.
Yeah.
All I need are some dumbbells and I just need to walk that.
Yeah. Seriously.
Just put that in my arms and just do farmer's carries for days and days up these mountains. I'll be fine.
Yeah, it would be. Coming up that hill.
It's having the motivation because when you have the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning waiting on you, you go to the gym. Everybody's there. You're seeing your friends. Yeah. Everybody's jiving. Music's playing. You get to it. The workout's over in a half hour or less, and then you go home. And that's like you'd be surprised at how much you can do in 20 minutes.
Seriously, I know that really well. But I tried that short time, and I did it for like 2 years, and I felt great. And then I somehow, I fell off track, and now I cannot work out at my house. I'm sorry. Can't do it.
It's weird.
So, now that the weather's turning around a little bit, I've been hitting mountain biking at Lake Hickory Trails.
I road bike, so yeah.
Lake Hickory Trails are amazing right now, man. They've done so much.
Well, we're doing some work with Catawba County, me and Garrick Lane at Table Rock Creative.
Okay.
And we're featuring all these local trails. And we've done, probably, 9 or 10 now.
Yeah.
But we're getting ready to do some more. And so I heard there's new trails down there.
There are new trails. They got a new grant, I think, last year, and they're putting they're redoing all of them. They have it's kind of like a bobcat, but they walk behind it.
Yeah.
You go through. There's new kickers everywhere. It's sweet. It's really cool. There's races right now. Just started on this past Sunday. That the next like 5 Sundays, they'll have like short track races.
Oh wow!
You know, and I'm trying to get my son McCoy. He's big into biking, and he, you know, I think he's been on 2 wheels more than he has his own feet in his life.
Probably.
You know, we had like those, not a Strider bike, kind of like you got there. Where that's not Strider. But
we're looking. She's got a pedal bike. Yeah, I know, man. We're looking for a better Strider bike hybrid.
Yeah.
Something that she can pedal with, because you were talking about that at one point with me, and getting her on something that she wants a green one with lightning bolts on it, and I'm like, well, we'll see, but she, you know, I'm just trying to get her something.
What I did with Hendrix is from the upgrade from that bike to the pedals, I just pulled the pedals off. Mm-hmm. So the pedal bike, I removed the pedals.
You just had the little.
And just had the
turn them sideways,
where
leave them.
The crank is, and so I just took the pedals away, and he felt comfortable because he treated it like a Strider.
Yeah.
And then I put the pedals back on.
And he's like, oh.
Because he was like, he could not, his brain wouldn't group all of it, you know?
Yeah.
But he got into it. I put the pedals back on. Now he rides. He's good. He hits the trails with us now too.
Yeah, she's about there. We got to teach her how to swim too.
You know, that's something that you know, it's been awesome. And luckily, I live 5 minutes away from the Hickory Trail, so it's a good outlet for me. You know, to get 20-30 minutes. If I can get that to myself and ride and work on my brain and work on me, then everybody around me is better.
Yeah. What might you say to yourself if you like came across yourself at 15 or even before that?
Oh man, stop screwing around. Don't drink as much.
At 15?
Yeah. Man, you know, and I look back, and luckily I'm blessed that my daughter isn't into it like that. But I mean, you know, at 14, 15 years old, we were drinking.
You had a lot of older siblings and cousins, though. I mean, Justin and your sister, and then you had other cousins.
I had other cousins, and you know, we'd go to Ryan Lutz's house, and you know, Dale would let us drink. You know, in 7th grade. You know, and we were drinking Boone's Farm and whatever. You know, I think that I wasted a lot of money and a lot of effort. I wish I could go back to culinary school and like actually know what I'm doing there and how to learn and how to make the most of it. You know, there's many times in my life that I do stuff to like just get by to do it. And I'm like, you know, I played piano till I could play the piano, and then I was done with it. You know, the next thing growing up, my dad wanted me to fly airplanes because he was into that. So like, all I had to do was take a written test, and I had my solo pilot's license. I didn't take the test.
Well, man, that happened to me too. My dad had me internship lined up with the Carolina Panthers, and I didn't want to make the drive. You know,
Man.
So he's like, "You bonehead," and I'm like, I was a freshman in college. It wasn't the drive. It was I had to walk across campus to get to my car, and then drive from Greensboro to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Every Sunday morning, and you know what Sunday mornings are like for you in college.
Yes. Yeah.
And I just said I don't want it, and I let it pass, and I didn't get that internship with the Panthers.
Wow.
But you know, I mean, like these are things that we do when we're stupid and we're kids.
Yeah.
You know, and our parents try to sweep us a path. They try to make it right for us, and you know, either our interests don't line up or our ambition or something. But I think we have to make those mistakes so that later we can go, you know what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, and even from the time that I graduated high school, you know, 18 years old to 24, like I slam packed it, like with a lot of traveling. You know, I traveled Europe. I went to school in China. The culinary school that I went to, the CIA.
Hold on, what? The CIA.
Culinary Institute of America.
All right.
The CIA.
I thought you were like in passing, you know, my time with the CIA.
This time with my CIA. No. So, I mean, like, I slam packed. You know, I left, you know, when I graduated, and I lived in Wilmington for 3 years. I had a really good time, too good of time. And then I went to culinary school, and, you know, then I traveled, and I lived in South Carolina, Colorado, New York. And I just slam packed it. And if I could go back and tell myself at 15, in the next 3 years, you're going to slam pack your life for the next, 8. And you're going to see a lot of really cool stuff, and to take more in and appreciate more and respect more. Because there's times then that like I was stressing out about a place to live. Like I lost my housing because my girlfriend and I came home in Colorado, and my girlfriend had a guy in the house. So I lost it, packed my stuff, and went and bought a tent at Walmart, and I lived in a tent for a month with Jordan Harrell, Alex's brother, and 3 other guys in the middle of the woods that, was sketchy as hell.
Y'all got
mountain lions and moose and there were some nasty animals there. There was boulders that were like rolling down the hill that, 50 yards away, there was a big boulder the size of this table that one night came crashing down, and we all were like, we woke up to it the next morning.
Yeah.
So, but there was really cool experiences in that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's cool though.
It was awesome. It was awesome. We should not probably be alive in many cases.
I mean, I was hanging on the side of a mountain one time. I was up at Canyons, and I was like, "Where's this go?" Bad idea. And I found myself just like a spider monkey hanging onto this and I had to figure out how to get down on a 165. Okay, I'm on a 165, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And so I had to go to a tree, hang onto the tree, flip over to my heel edge so I could see.
Yeah.
And then I come back to the death drop, and I'm like, okay. And I slide my way down, and I come down, and I hit my toe, and I'm out. And I was like, oh shit. And people were like, dude, you were up there for like an hour. And I'm like, you have no idea.
It felt like 5 hours actually.
Yeah. It felt like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was like a squirrel.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of those experiences, and when we look at our kids too, it's like I want them to know that like they have a lot of potential right now to do a lot of cool stuff.
Well, I think that they'll probably reach a lot of it, dude, with you as their father.
They will, and making sure that I'm there for them and when I need to be there for them. And
what's it like? Because you have more children than usual. Than most people have these days. Some people don't have any.
No.
And I find that equally as odd. But like the nuclear family is 2 kids, 2 parents, right?
Yeah.
And that seems to be the average.
Yeah.
But then you guys have more.
Yeah.
Like how do you relate to that with other parents or even other people who are your age who don't have any kids at all?
Yeah.
Because you probably get some judgment.
They're like, man, 4 kids? Wow. I'm like, it's really not that big of a deal.
Well, I mean, once you get 2 of them up, they do dishes and they vacuum.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of take care of themselves, and my daughter is new teenager, and she kind of keeps to herself a little bit, and the interactions is not as the same. But like, I wouldn't have it any other way. And honestly, I might have another kid. I can't now, but
if that happened, if that 1 in 300 sperm gets loose,
1 in 3,000. But yes, but it's a love that you will not get from anything else.
I know.
And that child, if you're there and you appreciate them and you love them, will love you 10 times as much as you love them.
And you're setting yourself up to be taken care of in old age.
And I can't. Hendrix now is, he still wants to come give me a kiss and give me a hug and come snuggle with me in the morning. And my 8-year-old son, he doesn't do that anymore. Yeah. He used to come in every single morning and give me a kiss.
Yeah.
Climb into bed, and I'd hold him and give me a kiss. But, I'm the one that can comfort him. And that's a feeling that you don't get from a dog. You don't get from
my dog. A little bit.
A little bit. And the dog I kind of have actually related my kids to animals a little bit, like Caesar, that dog trainer guy. It's like, but they're animals, and they have to be guided and shown, and you have to educate and teach and be there for them. And just that. So the 4 kids to me is like, I love it. It's chaotic, it's wild, it's crazy. It's at the end of the day, and my wife would definitely say, she's exhausted. She's done so much to get everybody to, and they all have showers, and they, every night, from school, and that we do meals. We don't really do a lot of takeout stuff, and so it's like, it's a big thing.
One thing that my wife and I both agree on now is that we waited a little too long to have our first. So like when I was 27, 28, I was ready to hitch my cart to hers, go ahead and get married, and then 3 years from then maybe start having kids. And she knew what I was thinking, and she gave me a look, and I was like, all right, I'll leave you alone.
We'll wait.
And then, 5 years go by, and then I proposed, 32, I proposed, and we were married that year. But we didn't have kids until 2017, and so that we got married in 2012. So it took 5 years from the moment.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool.
It took 5 years from the moment I wanted to marry her, and then it took another 5 years to have kids.
Yeah.
After that, and so she's 30. I guess she was 34 I was 2017. I would have been 35, so she was 33, and that's not bad.
Yeah.
Right. It's fine, but certainly older to get started than most, especially back in the day.
Yeah. Right.
And
back in the day, you would have had probably 10 kids by now.
And so now we're on to our second. She's 38. I'm 40 when she's born.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could have maybe racked that back 5 years, and we'd have more energy. And I think just becoming a father would have really lit a fire under me enough.
Yeah.
Because I was just kind of like floating around out there. I didn't know what I was doing. I was making money out there, doing what I did, but it wasn't like I was really focused. And
your focus would have been changed. I think if you're thinking that way, it would have been different because your focus would have been on that child. And
there might have been some overlap with Dad being around.
Yeah.
And what would that have done for my dad's health? Like if I could have had Eris, which it wouldn't have been Eris, it would have been another kid. It would have been a different kid. Timing's everything. If I could have had a child before Dad died, would Dad have maybe lived longer? Possibly. Now that's theory, but would he have gone, I got this grandkid, would it have softened him a bit? Because his stress levels were so high. Yeah. That's when he got the chest pains. That's when he had the heart attack,
Yeah. Well, the kids stress my dad, he's a grandfather that, they watch my siblings' kids daily, and it stresses them out.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but at the same time, my mom is trying to get him to eat healthier now and
I see.
better lifestyle.
I just thought maybe having a grandchild would soften the stresses a bit.
It softens them, but I don't know about the stress, And something I read the other day was there's stresses as far as marriage goes. There's stresses around us, but there doesn't need to be stress between us.
Yeah.
So whatever we're doing, we need to communicate through it and discuss these stresses before they become stresses between us. But it's the same thing as your dad too, and my mom and my dad's relationship, and the stresses of the children are around them, which cause stress between them, and I'm trying to learn and educate myself on.
What are you thinking about college with your kids? Because trade school is becoming popular again.
It is, man. And
I am not going to pay for a state school if my kid has no interest in the curriculum of the state school.
I don't. I feel like I personally like the trade direction.
It makes more sense.
It makes sense to me,
and they get to it quicker.
But it isn't. Yeah, they get to it quicker. It is an experience.
They're not just partying.
They're not just partying because we know that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But there's also things that I learned in that time frame, of how to balance bills and how to, pay for things that I needed to pay for.
I learned the hard way.
And me too. That's the only way I learned, unfortunately. I like to go the road that is the most difficult. Go down that black diamond. But the blue's easier.
Yeah.
I'm going that black diamond.
There's parties over on the black diamond.
The party's over here. There's so many more people over here. That's where I want to be.
Jerking around, not doing what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. So I don't know, and all of my kids are so very different. They're so very different.
See, I'm about to learn that.
And you think that, they come from you, they come from your wife, they're going to be the same. No, they're so different. My oldest daughter is big into music and movies and Marvel, and she loves that. She could name any character and anything, and she loves art, and she, so. And then my other daughter likes art, but she also, is a socialite, and she just wants to be around her friends. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of concerned about her, where she'll go.
Right.
Because she wants to go to that party or whatever.
But if you can tap her into how she can use her social skills, so I was her. Yeah. Right. And so, one thing about me in middle school, I had everybody's phone number in a book. Everybody's. I'm surprised I didn't have yours. I bet I had your sister's.
Probably got my sister's.
I bet I had your sister. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she didn't know me from Moses, but I bet I had her number. And what was I doing? Why did I have all those numbers? Well, one, I really liked to party. I knew how to party, and I even threw parties. Right? Not that many. I had a mud wrestling party my senior year. It was epic. But I was really into organizing contacts, and I wanted to know everybody. And but that today I'm a publicist. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm a publicist. I work in media. I have a lot of contacts, and I run a podcast.
Yeah.
And, you're number 21, 22 technically. Okay? And so where is this going to be in 5 years? You're going to be back on the show. You're going to be episode 1021, you know?
Yeah.
And that's all these new people coming into my fray. And I think she could harness those skills.
Oh, yeah.
And turn them into something real. Because my guess is she's probably a PR person.
Yeah.
She just doesn't know it yet. Or she's a project manager.
She can be a project. She's very, like, she has a calendar. Everything is written down.
Yeah.
She has everybody's birthday linked to my phone. Her friends, teachers, janitor,
So it's
family,
every
bro.
time someone's got a birthday, it notifies you.
I'm like, Zeta, please turn that off my phone. I don't like
Oh,
that.
it's Harry's
I love you.
birthday.
Yeah, it's it's the janitor's cousin's birthday today, and I'm like,
Prince Harry.
how do you know this person? But has so much potential, and she is so structured. Layla's not structured at all. I love her to death.
She's
but
the artist.
She's the artist. Zeta loves art, but she has to have this picked, and it has to be here. You know, but she'll make sure that she gets what she wants too. So there's some other sides to it. The boys are a little too young for me to plan out. I think McCoy is he's very meticulous. He likes things structured and clean and organized, and maybe like an architect or something like that. Hendrix, I can barely keep clothes on, so I don't know where the heck he's going to be. He's going to be on top of the house or something.
He'll own a nudist colony in Georgia.
He would love that. You know, he loves pajamas, so he changes into his pajamas.
Give
every
him some
day.
time. You'll figure it out.
But he's just an awesome spirit, and he thinks he's a comedian, and he's, you know,
Maybe that's what it'll be.
maybe that's it. You know, he loves to make people laugh,
Okay.
especially when, you know,
That's
it's
a
not
real
the time.
I mean, if he gets started early enough, I mean, he can really make a run.
Yeah, he loves scaring his mom, so that makes us all laugh, and you know,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. But
That's good.
he'll intentionally do that every day. But
That's really good, man.
yeah, it's cool. They're a lot of fun.
Kind of beating a dead horse here, but if you could go back in time, is there anything you would change? Is there anything you would say to yourself? Well, I'm not going to go there. We already did that.
Kind of did that, yeah.
If you could go back in time, like what might you do there? Anything? If you could go, would you just observe yourself? Because I think I would just watch. I wouldn't really change
I would
anything.
probably watch to see some things, but at the same time, like, some of the things that I wish I'd learned earlier is, you know, some of the financial stuff of
Yeah.
you know, and like having that knowledge to know that, you know, not only having one income, but having multiple incomes is a good way to
Really great way.
do it. And I never did that. I just had one, and then I also didn't use the money that I made at that one to turn it into more inactive money, you know,
Yeah.
for me. You know, and I'm just learning that now, and I'm, you know,
Bitcoin and all that and stuff.
yeah, I mean, you know, and finding ways to inactively make money is what we kind of have to do right now.
Well, it's literally the only way, I think.
It is. Otherwise, you're just going to be struggling and working and working and working and working.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that, you know, and then you think about college for 4 kids, and you think about all that shit that you have to add up that, you know, my kids go to private school.
That's so what I was with my dad. So my dad, he made it absolutely clear that I was going to college no matter what, and I didn't want to go. I wanted to do a trade. I wanted to go into film.
Yeah.
There were plenty of trade schools for film, and I thought I'd be like, look, I'm out in 2 years. What's the problem? Just let me do this. He's like, no, you're going to a state school. And this was just their mindset.
Yeah.
He pays for my college. I don't appreciate it because I don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think that that's a big deal.
Huge.
I think if you're going to go, you probably should pay for it yourself because then you'll appreciate it. You're like, fuck, this is $8,000.
Yeah.
I got to pay for that myself. I better make this work or else, you know? And so I almost flunk out of college. I don't. I make Dean's List by the end, but, you know, the first few years were rocky.
Yeah.
And then roll forward to 2014, my dad dies. And he doesn't die to give me an inheritance. He gives me his debt. And his debt is my school loans. So he's working to the end, paying off my debt. And I had no idea he was still paying them. That's how aloof I was to it. I'm out in Salt Lake, hanging onto a cliff like a spider monkey, not knowing I'm underneath 20 grand in student debt.
Wow.
And he didn't tell me. He didn't want me to know. But he kept that sort of, it wasn't a secret, but he just kept that. And he was paying it off because he said he would pay for my college. And I'm just thinking, after he's dead, in the wake of that, I'm like, when I get the invoice for 20 grand, I'm like, are you serious? And I'm like, had I just one, either A, paid for my college myself, or two, gone to a trade school like I should have gone, or just learned on the job because it's film. I don't need a degree.
Yeah.
How much less stress would have been on him, and how much longer could he have lived had he not been trying to pay off my fucking loans?
Yeah.
Right? Because he also paid my sister's. He had just paid hers off. And so he's like, we had gone to school. She's 96 to 2000. I'm 01 to 05. 05 to 2000 and let's say 14. He's still paying all those off.
Wow.
Right? What's the point?
Yeah.
Did it help me? I don't make any more money than I would have had I not gone to college.
Yeah.
I don't make any more money than I would have. I probably might make, eventually, I might make more.
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't matter. No one asks me for my degree.
Yeah.
No one says, where'd you go to school? They're like, so what'd you work on last? Can you show us your last 3 projects?
Yeah.
That's what they want to see. What happened?
What's the recent?
Right now?
Yeah.
So it really bugs me. And I just, when my kids get to that point, unless they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a dentist, I'm not going to send them down the college track.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean, I can see that, you know, and it makes sense too. I mean, I didn't appreciate, the CIA was not a cheap school. It was probably $60,000+ a year to go there.
That's a lot.
And my parents paid for it.
And that's very nice of them.
It was really nice of
They're
them.
probably still paying for it.
They probably are, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, but my older sister didn't go to college. I did. Michelle went to ECU. Michael went to Pick Community right by ECU, which they partied like crazy out there.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, Michelle graduated. I think Mike was a credit or 2 short from graduating, so he'd been out there 3 years, and you know, he doesn't have a degree right now. You know, Michelle went for art education, and now she works at a furniture company, and she's designing their furniture.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's Fairfield Chair, and she's doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
They love her there. She just got promoted, so there's like, she's doing really well with that. My brother is, you know, he's driving a truck and he's making better money than I am, and he delivers food for Cisco.
But
you
he's
know?
2 credits shy of a degree.
Yeah,
And so what?
doesn't matter.
I wouldn't, like, I don't know, like, so I guess if you're Ivy League, people get into that judgy spot where they're
Yeah.
like judging you because you went to Yale and not, or you went to Duke and not Harvard or whatever.
Yeah.
But where we are, like, no one gives a shit.
Allison went to phlebotomy school. Actually, she went to art, makeup, tattooing, and then phlebotomy. But now she's a phlebotomist. She works for LabCorp.
Yeah, it's fine.
They love her there.
Yeah.
She does a great job.
She's probably really happy
She's
in her
good
job.
with people.
Yeah.
You know, she's kind. She has a good heart. Like, so the people that are coming in there, she's talking to them. She's making them feel good for being there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's awesome.
My wife has a double master. Okay, so she's a doctor and she got a second master. Okay, she just finished it, and she's having a hard time finding a job with those qualifications.
Yeah.
She's overqualified.
How's that feel?
I mean, it's fine for me because I'm at
How's it feel
home.
for her? It's not a good feeling if somebody tells you you're overqualified for a job.
I've been told that before.
Well,
Yeah.
hire me then.
Yeah.
I don't care. I need
Yeah.
a job.
Yeah.
That's what happened when I tried to start working at, it was Yusuf 242, but you know, the job that I'm working at now, 11 years ago, they told me I was overqualified. I'm like, well, okay, I need a job.
Yeah. I don't have a
We
choice. I
can't
need something.
We can't hire you.
I'm either working here or
I'm
the
not even
burger
asking
joint.
for a lot of money. You just started me at $11 an hour, and I
Yeah.
have 2 kids.
Yeah.
Dude, I just took.
Not enough.
That's not enough, man. And my wife can't work right now because we have 2 young kids.
Yeah.
That's not enough. But you know what? I took the job because
Yeah.
I needed it,
Yeah.
and I was overqualified and underpaid, and that's
Yeah.
what they did. You know, it's crazy, but you know, it's a lot different now, but to say the least with all of that stuff. But I mean, it's
You got in on the bottom floor.
yeah. I worked my way up.
Yeah.
So now I'm the executive chef of Cafe Rule, and you know, I get to oversee the menus, and I get to oversee the other restaurants' menus. Masamora, I helped build that menu for like 8 months before they hired that chef team in, and
Wow.
you know, I will be going over to Vintage House at some point to kind of play around with their menu there, and you know, we got a lot of cool stuff going down the line.
Cool. Well, we've got 13 minutes left.
All right.
So I'm going to go ahead and ask you, what are your hopes and dreams for your family?
Hopes and dreams for family. Just to appreciate life and to make the most out of it, whatever it may be. You know,
Yeah.
go outside, stay off the devices, enjoy it, have the memories, the experiences that we all get. You know, but the last The last thing I want them to do is think about a Christmas present that that we had 3 years ago. Which, you know what, they probably forget last year's Christmas presents. But I want
it's like
them
who
to
lost the
have memory.
Super Bowl.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Like yeah, like
honest with you.
like, but that's how it is with like the Christmas presents at the end of the year. It's like, what did I get last year? Oh right.
I just want them to live a full life and to be happy and to have a good relationship with their significant other.
And with their family.
Their family. I want them to have as close of a family ties as we do with mine.
It's really hard these days for siblings because, of the politics of the age.
Yeah.
Like my sister and I, we had a moment where we were like not getting along because the double speak on the news and
Yeah.
and she believed one thing and I believed another, and we had to like just let it go, and
Yeah.
I imagine it's going to be that way with your kids one day too.
It is like that
They're going
with
to be in
my
their
siblings,
30s and they're going to be
Yeah.
yelling at each other.
I mean,
about,
Allison and I are not in a good place right now.
oh yeah,
And that's just to be honest with it. And but she wants. I'm not ready for the conversation, but I've told her I love her.
yeah,
I love you. I'm just.
Yeah.
That's my response to the text messages and the missed phone calls.
Yeah.
I love you, and that's all I'm going to say right now.
yeah.
But that's going to happen. And Michelle and I used to hate her, but I love her to death. I mean, I love her, but
To me, and I say this sometimes in other places, but it's like in the stream of life, the rocks in the river, the ones that are smoothest have been through the most turmoil.
Yeah.
And it's like as siblings, we're almost those rocks chipping off each other
Yeah.
until we get past all of our edges.
seriously, yeah,
And when we do that, we can become smooth again. And when we're smooth with each other, I mean, everything's great.
yeah. Yeah, and
But
we'll
you
get
have
back
to get-
it.
you
I just
have
gotta
to get
to
past
it,
that stuff.
Getting past it, and that's the thing too. Like I'm kind of, it's to a point now. I'm kind of holding on to it.
But
too
see,
long,
but to get past it, you have to go through. There's no way for anyone to like just get along if there's problems. You have
Yeah.
to fight through them, and whether that's a bickering or just a strong debate, or like with brothers, fisticuffs. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes two brothers just got to have it out in the
Have it
front
out.
yard.
Yeah.
And after they fight, what happens with guys after they fight? They're usually best
good.
friends.
Yeah.
It
They're
does-
good.
it's not about the words. It's about the intent and the emotions a lot of times,
Yeah.
at least with guys.
Yeah, that's true. Having that uncomfortable conversation is
Yeah.
something that we're working on as a business too. If something is going on, have the uncomfortable conversation because it's uncomfortable right now.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's going to get better if you
face
find
it.
find it out. Find out what the issues are. If you have an issue with me, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And the same goes with your spouse too. Have it before it gets out of hand,
Yeah.
so you're not losing your shit on her or or vice versa.
All the blaming and stuff, like just
Just let's talk about it.
What's
if
the
you
problem?
don't think I'm doing enough laundry in the house, let me know.
yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's not wait till 2 weeks and the laundry builds up and then we freak out on each other and our kids see it.
Oh yeah.
They see our weakness. Because we have to have strength. And that's with your family. And that's. I mean, for me, family's huge. It's a big thing.
Well, you have something that I just don't, and you have a really big family.
Yeah, it's big.
Very big, and I keep saying to my wife, I was like, I want a big family, and two girls. Well, one day they'll have children,
Yeah.
and
Oh
then
yeah.
we'll have a nice flourishing thing. But after Dad's passing, I mean, my sister's not having children, and so it's like our family is like small, and we have other members of the family who don't want to be a part of our family, and so like we're even smaller.
Yeah.
It's just like my Uncle Jerry, Aunt Tammy, their son Ryder, me, Mom, Andrea, our kids, and my sister and her husband. That's it.
Yeah.
And then like I see pictures of you guys at Christmas, and you need to have like an ultra wide angle.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah. Bring in a photographer. We tried to do it by ourselves with a tripod stand and all
Yeah.
that shit, dude. No.
And so like I'm like I love that.
It's wild. In the back of the scene, it's like I always want the Christmas card to have like the shots leading up to, like the kid being hung by his foot or some
No,
shit. Like
you
that
don't-
should be the back of the card.
We
man.
do time because I'm a photographer.
Yeah.
I set it up because I know I'm not going to get the shot on my own, and I just put it on a time lapse. So it's going
Yeah.
it's shooting, and we're getting
moving.
we're
Everything.
corralling the dogs.
Yeah,
and
everybody.
We're getting the kid.
Get them in there.
I'm holding her by the back of her head.
Yeah. Smile,
Yeah.
Just smile. I mean, it's with 11 grandchildren and there's a lot of us, man. 20-something of us. I mean,
Yeah.
But it's like to
I love
get
it.
that picture, but I always think, I'm always like, Mom, just get the picture that sucks and put it on the back of the card, and
put
be
it
like,
there.
this is us being fake. It's showing everybody, and this is us being real that it took to
It's that Bart Simpson photo.
get to the end finale of, it's all about the journey.
The mess is what's more fun, I think.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is.
Cool, man. Well, we're at 11:52.
All right.
I'm gonna call it. Any final thoughts?
Nah, man, just appreciate you having me out, man. I know it took like 2 years.
Well, nah, man. I called you.
No.
I called you in last summer.
All right, so about a year.
Yeah.
But this is awesome. I definitely appreciate the conversation. That time went real quick.
That's how it is. And usually we go longer. I mean, we're going to go 2 hours here, I bet. How can people get a hold of you online? How can they find
Online, Instagram probably is Chef R. Doherr.
you? Okay.
I post a lot about food and mountain biking and my family at this point. It's my main focus.
Yeah, and is there a website that it can follow you or your restaurants?
Restaurants, yeah, it's caferule.com.
Okay.
And then we also have Masamor and Vintage House. So, and there's a lot more down the road too.
Okay, cool. Go check him out, Cafe Rule. It's really great. Thanks.
Thanks, buddy.
I appreciate your
it,
time.
man.
Yeah. I'm Josh Lloyd, and you're on the Ridge.